flickering monitor here I need to fix real quick. That's what's delaying me, guys. Hold on a second. Hopefully that does it. Alright. One second, guys. Having a small technical difficulty. I should be live. Double checking my monitor. My stream output monitor is giving me issues. Hey, one second, guys. Hold on. I gotta swap this. Driving me nuts. Stand by. PC Tech Hustle is undergoing technical difficulty. That's a heavy monitor. That'll work though. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I got you on audio. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's see. Power. 2 more seconds, guys. I'm just plugging in my monitor so I can see you guys because I'm having issues. Almost there. Almost there. I'm gonna get an adapted DVI cable. Come on, get out of there. Hopefully this will reach. Yep. You can probably see me here. That's where I am, so give me 2 seconds. Almost done. Gotta just rearrange a couple things. That's... Jeez. Not how I wanted to start the stream. Okay. Hopefully that should do it. Alright, perfect. Yeah, it looks like I'm still flickering on this monitor. Sweet. We're just gonna roll with it. Alright, guys. Sorry about that. One of my monitors that allows me to see you guys was going wacky on me. Alright, so how's it going, guys? We've got a pretty solid stream going tonight. I'm going to try to make this a lightning speed stream as well. Definitely give me a quick check in the chat if you can hear and see me okay. I'm going to be struggling through some type of monitor flicker situation. I don't know what's going on. I swapped monitors and it's still going on, so I don't know what's going on. But as long as you guys can hear and see me good, that's all that matters. Alright. Cool. Alright, so yeah, I gotta work on my stream PC. Something's funky with it. I've been kind of struggling with it. I thought it'd be okay today, swapping to a different monitor, and I think I made things worse. So, anywho, so guys, we've got a stream of 2 PC builds today. I think I saw earlier we already have the owner of one of these PCs. If not, we possibly will have them both. Hold on, sorry, I'm adjusting the monitor too. In the stream with us, hanging out, watching their PCs getting built. So this is a couple client builds that they're gonna see live built in front of them. And if this looks familiar to you guys, well, one, I just wanted to say, this is a take after the parts hunt that we did a couple weeks ago where we set out to build a couple $800 PCs. and the price kind of went up a little bit, you know, and that's okay. This is more of just a client build, so it's however the clients want to spend their money, they can. But we started off with about $800 builds. We were focusing on doing an Intel versus AMD build, which we're still doing tonight, but the prices have gone up a little bit. So we're looking at about $1,000 for the Intel build and about $900 for the AMD build. All in all, should be well encompassing of two good or great, I would say, gaming PCs at this price point. Probably about the best your money can buy. So take that at you know, as it is. That'd be a good example for you guys to see, you know, kind of what you can get for these price points. We'll talk about where we got the parts from and all that. Most of it is from that parts hunt stream that we did a couple weeks back. So if you want to reference that, feel free. One thing I didn't get a chance to finish was a full parts description of both of the builds. So at the end of the stream, that will be complete. So if you guys want to kind of take some of the ideas you see in this stream tonight and build up your own PC, or if you're looking to do so, I'll have links to all those parts for you guys so that you can, you know, jump into that and build your own PC if you want to take after this type of build. I'm going to try my best here to keep up with the chat. My monitor is like flickering every 10 seconds. It's really annoying, but I'm definitely going to be looking out for you guys. So I see some people I know in real life, as well as on that generally attend the chats and my YouTube comments. So I'll just throw a quick shout out. So how's it going, Jonathan Talks Hardware? Logan, how's it going? Adam, thank you, sir, also for the super chat right off the way. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. By the way, guys, that is, you know, not something I asked for, but it's always helpful because I fund this channel and all I do completely through kind of really what I make through YouTube AdSense and, you know, kind of building and selling builds where I can. So it's not my full-time job, so any little bit helps. It helps me upgrade my equipment, you know, do whatever, as well as, you know, just provide you guys content. So definitely appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. Nemesis Tech, how's it going, man? Sorry, I'm trying to read it. My screen is flickering bad. And Corey Parker. So Corey is one of the owners of one of these builds. So we'll definitely be hearing from him and seeing from him in the chat. Okay, so I got a lot of chat already that flew by, and I'm trying to keep up, mainly because I had some issues at first. But all right, so we've got a lot of parts here that I gotta kind of tend to here. But let's jump right into it. We got two PCs to build, as we mentioned, a couple an AMD build and a Intel build. Let's go ahead and start with the Intel build. So I'm gonna get some of these parts out of the way, and feel free to guys contribute to the chat. Ask questions. I'm here to kind of just be a PC builder as well as, you know, just hang out with you guys. So any kind of types of technical questions you want to have answered, we want to chat about certain parts, why we picked them, whatever. We're here to do that and have fun. Oh, by the way, and I think Adam did say thoughts on virtual gaming PC. So Adam and I kind of chat a little bit. Looks like there's a Microsoft service that you'll have to remind me of what that was called, Adam. But kind of like I know NVIDIA. Who is it? NVIDIA has a similar type thing where it's basically like a VM where you go game through just connected hardware. So you don't have to have any of your own physical hardware like this, and it's basically just a game as a service. So that is an interesting idea. It's definitely taking a little more mainstream. I've done a couple videos where I've done these super budget builds like the Optiplex build, which was my last video last week. That could be, I mean, heck, you don't even need to throw a GPU into that Optiplex and just connect to the internet and start gaming, right? So I'm definitely very interested in that. It might be something worth checking out, you know, since it kind of fits the theme of doing things on a budget. Maybe we take that same Optiplex and go play some games on one of those services that provide you gaming as a service. If you guys are anywhat familiar with infrastructure and IT stuff, there's things as a service. So you got infrastructure as a service. So that's basically what it is, just for gaming. Okay, I think I should have cleared off the table earlier, but I kind of wanted you guys to see what we were working with. I'm also going to get this case out of here. We got a lot of stuff. I mean, 2 PC builds, so we got a lot of stuff on the table. As you guys noticed in the thumbnail, I tried to make it look like I was getting buried, you know. Hopefully grabbed that sense pretty well. All right, so and Caden, we also got Caden, who is the owner of the other PC. So we got both PC owners in the chat. So let's have some fun. Let's get these PCs built for him. All right, so like I said, we're going to start with, we're going to try to fire through this because I got 2 PC builds. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can get it all done in a couple hours. And also keep up with you guys. So we're going to, like I said, start with the Intel build. So what we got here is a motherboard. This is a pretty, I would say, full feature budget motherboard. We've got the Gigabyte DS3H B660, and you guys are familiar with the channel. You know what this is all about. We've used this board many a times. The great thing about this board is it's not lacking in major features, and it provides everything that we need. It's also got Wi-Fi. I wanted both Caden and Corey to have Wi-Fi, so that way they can, you know, either plug in or use their existing Wi-Fi. It gives them those options. It's just kind of funny that there's still boards out there that don't have Wi-Fi. Yeah, I mean, they're a little bit cheaper, but not by much. So yeah, really good looking board here. It's got, you know, grays and blacks and good aesthetics. Got some cooling over the VRM here in an 8-pin power delivery, so good power delivery. Heatsink over the M.2, an additional M.2 for DIMM slots. So pretty much everything you want to really have encompassing in a budget style build, but not any corners cut. So now for processor, if you guys are if you guys did watch the first stream where we just went parts hunting for this build, we were landing on an i5-12400, and that is a plenty good CPU. But Caden was talking to me. He's like, hey, you know, I want to do an upgrade. It was really tough to take another level of GPU, because in that part stream, you'll see that we ended up on in the stream we ended up on a GTX RX 6550 XT, which we'll get to the decisions we made with that. But going up another level meant either kind of going the NVIDIA route, which would be like another $100, or going up maybe 6700, probably be the next level GPU. And I was kind of like, you know what? I think a better upgrade would be to go get you a next level processor. That way, when it comes time to throw in like a big beefy video card, you're not going to be CPU bottlenecked, and you'll definitely notice a difference in performance between the 12400F and what we now have as the 12600K. Now, before you guys jump all over me on the comments, yes, this is a overclockable processor. This is not an overclockable, well, it's not a full feature overclockable motherboard. So I mean, that's okay. And honestly, like, I mean, if that's something that Caden really wants to do in the future, we'll set him up with a Z series board. But making that a part of your buying point is, I mean, not many people, I think, really overclock these days, unless you're really just a tinkerer. I used to do it a lot more. I actually don't really do it a whole lot anymore. I had an 8700K in my old build, and I overclocked the hell out of it. Now I'm running my 5950X in my content creation rig, and I don't really touch it. I just kind of, you know, I'm kind of over the overclocking stage, I guess you could say. But if it is something he's interested in, we can definitely set him up with a Z series board. But performance-wise, if you're not doing any overclocking, you're not really going to gain anything. And what we're gaining here by going with the CPU is obviously a heck of a lot more performance, being more cores and higher clock speeds. I need a knife. I'll be right back. I'm just stepping outside of camera. Should have one. There it is. And I might as well bring over my iFixit screwdriver as well, because I'll need that. All right, let me get back to the chat here. See, Randy says, I've got a little Optiplex. I see some upgrades, or I did some upgrades on. I want to swap a little GPU I use for one of those RTX A200 RTX A2000 IGP. I'm not sure what that even is. So that's like a, okay, let me make sure I read there. I did some upgrades on. I want to swap the little GPU I use for one of those. Oh, so I think I've seen something about those RTX A series cards. I don't know a whole lot about them. I'm not sure as far as, you know, what's the target market for those types of GPUs. I believe that's kind of more like production style workloads or something like that. I don't know. Feel free to enlighten me there, Randy, because I'm not entirely sure about that. But the main thing I would say is just consider the amount of power draw that something like that would have. If you got an Optiplex and you've not upgraded the power supply, I would probably guess for something like that it's going to need a power supply upgrade, which is nice because in a Dell Optiplex, if you are using something like what I just built in my last video, I'm trying to get this damn CPU out of here. Those are easy to upgrade. You can easily swap in a normal ATX size power supply and away you go. So those are pretty simple upgrades. Okay, this box is defeating me. We'll put the camera on so where you guys can see it a little better. Try to just get this dang thing out. There we go. I think maybe slide out. You will not defeat me, box. All right, we're gonna have lots of PC building trash. Okay, so we've got the processor here. Not sure if you guys can actually see the writing. 12600. Oh, there we go. No, not so good. Kind of hard to see in there. But we're gonna get this installed in the motherboard. Rainy says they're low profile, blower style card. They are getting great reviews. Oh, I'm interested actually. I want to check that out. Do you know about what they go for as far as price? I've seen. I want to say I've seen a little bit about them. I just haven't seen a lot. Yeah, I'm struggling, Jonathan. Here we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so opening the latch here of the motherboard, and it's as simple as, oh yeah, this one comes back. We're going to line up those triangles. So we got triangle, triangle. We're just going to drop this in. And if you guys have, I'm going to actually spin it sideways so I can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. If you guys have never done an Intel install it too, there's notches on the PCB part of the CPU. So if that is kind of an extra indicator for you to line everything up, and that just kind of goes really one way. Just very carefully drop that in. I think we're in. No, we're not all the way. Now we are. Okay. And then we're just going to close the latch. Yep. Okay. Let's go. I'm going to spin it this way. Yeah, that's in. Okay. It's just, ah, man. That always makes me nervous. And pop off the cover. It goes. All right, we'll save that for Caden in his CPU box in case we ever need to make a return or warranty or anything. So we've got that all set up for him. Excellent. Okay. So CPU installed in the motherboard. Next, let's keep moving because we got 2 PCs to build. All right, so for memory, we'll go with that next and make sure this is actually for the other build. What we landed on is what we landed on in the parts hunt stream, which we've got is a set of T-Force Delta RGB, 3200 megahertz, cast latency 16 gigs of RAM. So very, very good, strong start for RAM for a build like this. It uses 12 gigs of GDDR6. They're running about, oh, interesting. That seems like a lot, honestly, for a Dell Optiplex. I'd actually be a little worried if maybe that would bottleneck that Dell Optiplex CPU. I mean, I guess if you went with a like an i7, like a 4790, might do okay. Only $200 though. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll pick one of those up. I still have that Dell Optiplex on hand. Maybe we throw that in there and see what happens. I'll have to probably upgrade that power supply though. That's not a big deal. Okie doke. Just gonna try to manage our trash as we go. Alright, so we've got a couple RGB memory. So really we could have gone a little bit cheaper with memory. Not too much actually. We got these for $55 off of brand new off of Amazon. So I mean you get maybe another $5 to $10 at most, unless you went really, really skimpy with the memory. But this is a good looking kit, black. It's got some RGB at the top, so I think it's pretty solid. And for the price, it's kind of unbeatable. And RAM is still extremely low in price, so it's worth picking up some RGB RAM if you can, because you're not going to really spend a whole lot more. All right, they're in the second slot, and get this guy in, make sure it's going the right way. Okay, 2 clicks, we're good to go. RAM installed. All right, let's move on. Let's keep this rolling. So storage is next, and I bet you guys would guess what I went with on this. I went with a Team Group MP33 as usual, right? Because these suckers are an amazing hot deal. This is a 1 terabyte actually. Some of my more budget builds have been 512 gigs, but for 52 bucks right now on Amazon, so heck of a deal. And since this motherboard actually has 2 slots, if we ever need more, we can just snag another one of these for another 50 bucks and have another 1 terabyte of space. So, I mean, I've been saying this many times now in my PC builds. I keep going to these just because they're so red hot. It's such a good deal. Nothing crazy to look at in terms of aesthetic. Of course, this one's going under a heatsink anyway. But I guess the only thing here is it's a PCIe Gen 3 versus a Gen 4, which this motherboard can handle. Again, if you're building a budget gaming rig, you're probably never going to notice the difference between Gen 3 and Gen 4. Where you would really pick up the differences, maybe if you're doing some type of production workloads, where you're doing some file transfers of large sizes, like if content creation. I do that a lot. But I actually even dump my files to a Gen 3 drive and then over to a Gen 4 drive. So I still use Gen 3 even in my stuff. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And the price that you get for 1 terabyte is just phenomenally good. I got the wrong bit for this screwdriver. I need to go get the correct one. 1 second. Remember where I put my, there it is. I'm just off camera, sorry guys. There we go. I was a little behind and then running into technical difficulties, so I'm trying to pick up the pace. So we're going to take this and get the screen on what we're working on. We're going to take this heatsink off and get this drive installed. Oh, it's actually backwards on Intel. I'm used to it being on the other side, so this is basically upside down. That's okay. So we're just going to slot that in. It can only go one way. And we actually have a screw that's attached to this heatsink here, so we're going to just reuse that. But what we are going to do is peel off the adhesive cover. That is for the thermal pad, and I got to stick it the right way. So that way we've got some heat conductivity for the drive as it's getting installed here on the motherboard. So that way, keep it nice and cool. Although these don't really get all that hot anyway. Kind of overkill, but still looks good. So now, you know, we can't even see the drive and it's buried under that nice heatsink. Alright, so we've got basically the motherboard prepped. We've got CPU, storage, and RAM installed. It's time to get this sucker in the case. Now, actually, I wanted to double check. I don't think there's going to be any extras that we're going to need from the motherboard box. What, though, it does... Oh, yes. Yep, I'm glad I did check. We have the heatsink. Yeah, because this motherboard does not come with a... Or heatsink. I/O plate. I/O shield. This motherboard does not come with one pre-installed like some other fancier ones. But I'm glad we took a look because we are going to need this. Aside from anything else, this is just the Wi-Fi antenna that you know, we'll give to the client when they're ready, and a couple extra M.2 screws that will just stay with the motherboard accessories for now because we won't need that for this build. Randall says, I'm sorry, my bad. There is a 12 gig and a 6 gig. I'll be looking at the 6 gig. Okay, so that is interesting. I'm going to definitely take a look at that. I'm going to try to remember. It sounds like a pretty decent budget card for Dell Optiplex, like what you're talking about there. Jonathan Talks Hardware says, my screen just flickered, I got a new gaming headset. Nice, man. What'd you get? The cooler. Do that before installing. Oh, man. Thanks for keeping me honest there, Jonathan. I knew I was missing something. We need a CPU cooler, right? I'm a little flustered tonight, so I'm getting it all set up. Yeah, so we need a CPU cooler. Obviously, we can't just put this in the rig and just melt it down. So that wouldn't have been good, right? I would have caught it at some point. So, all right. So we're gonna get. Let's talk about the cooler that we went with. Haven't used one of these in a while, but these are tried and true, amazing coolers. The Vitru V5 from Vitru. I think it's like a Chinese brand of some sort. Gotten tons of popularity recently in the PC building world because of the price, the performance, and the aesthetics. So let's check it out. All black cooler, tower cooler, 5 heat pipes. That's right, because V5 meaning 5 heat pipes, and comes with a black on black ARGB fan. So we're going to plug this in and get it synced up with the rest of the RGB fans in the build. That's the rest. I might just hold on to that. I actually have not done a 1700 series install on one of these yet. 1700 LGA is what I'm talking about, the socket of the CPU. So yeah, thank you, Jonathan, for reminding me of that, because I was ready to zip there. Okay, so what we want to do here is actually, yeah, it should have some thermal paste. We'll see what we got here. We're going to open up the accessories here real quick for this cooler. Now, obviously, with the reason also we don't have a cooler with our box, because the 12600K does not come with a cooler. The 12400 would have. So they basically, anticipate you to add your own aftermarket cooler, because it does put out quite a bit more heat than your normal 12400. I think it's a, what is it, 105 watt chip versus 65 watt, I believe is what it is. Logitech G35. Cool. Nice, man. This Corsair headset is driving me insane. So I'm totally up for any interpretation of what's going on, but works completely fine on my streaming PC, which I'm streaming out to you guys. Not a single issue. But when I connect it up to my main editing rig / gaming rig, it's both. If I put it on Wi-Fi, which it is on right now, works fine for like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden I get this static feedback and it just doesn't go away, and I have to basically flip it off of Wi-Fi, flip it back on, and then it's fine for like 5 more minutes, and then it does it again. I've searched all high and low about it. I've reinstalled Corsair IQ software. I've done everything, and it just doesn't like to work on my main rig anymore. So it's kind of disappointing, because this is not a cheap headset, and I've been very happy with it other than up until this point. The thing that drives me nuts is why it works like on every other system that I have, but not my main rig. So, alright, so pretty sure we got this going right. I'm going to double check. This should just be, yeah, this is just the back plate. That, speaking of things going funky wrong, now I got my monitor really acting up on me. Hang on, I don't have control of my stream. I think I didn't have that plugged in all the way. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Hopefully that fixes it. I guess the next thing to really fix is my streaming PC, but alright. We've got the back plate here. We're going to get that installed on the back side of the motherboard. Pretty simple to do that. Basically just line up the holes. And I just pulled off the sticky adhesive covering, so this is just going to make sure that it doesn't ground out on the back side of the motherboard. Oh, looks like there is some adjustment here. So we've got, looks like we're on 1700, I believe. Yeah, we are. Or that side is, yep, 17XX. Okay. Get in there. I think it's taller on one side, actually. That felt. Maybe I do have to back it out one notch. Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's see if that goes in okay. Feels better. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So it's got a sticky adhesive. That's really just helpful for keeping that back plate on while we do this action. Flip it back over and get this installed. So now we've got Intel bracketry. Gotta find that here in our list of, okay, Intel, here we go. This is probably AMD. Yep. Get that out of the way. Actually, just put that back in here. I'm doing this still without any instruction. Let's double check, make sure we did everything completely correct. We're trying to save ourselves time, so got that set. Yep. And then it says attach it. These screws, I don't believe are going to, oh yeah, it goes on the So that's what we gotta do next. So let's scoot this up and out of the way a little bit, and get our Intel bracketry installed on the cooler itself. So for reference, we've got it sitting up like this. We need, looks like that should be it. So I think it goes over the top. Let's just double check our instruction that says that if it does, where does it, yeah, it installs from the bottom. So what we'll do here, and that's important because you want to make sure the tolerances are correct on the cooler. So here we go. Get these screws here. So we got 4 screws in this little baggie here. We're just going to attach the 2 brackets that comes for the Intel, and that'll allow us to drop it down on the motherboard if you guys are just kind of a little curious what the heck's actually going on. So got this going here. All right. Pretty much can only go one way. Get that started. And yes, we will peel the peel before we put it on, if anybody's already said it. I have done that once, but I did manage to catch myself before I turned on the system and cooked anything. So get this screw going. All right. Jonathan Talks Hardware says, I built an i5 4570 PC with a GTX 750 Ti 2 years ago, and it has a feature CPU cooler, but unfortunately I don't have the compatible RGB hub. Yeah, that's a little older stuff. So you actually, Jonathan, you can go pick up a a SATA powered generic RGB controller that'll allow you to, it's not going to be like super awesome as far as control ability, but basically it's a button that you can plug in. Okay, so you know, oh yeah, you've probably seen like Zach's Tech Turf do one of those. Yeah, so that's just you know, out there in case if anybody else has done something like, I've had to use them a couple times here and there. They're nice for that. Allow you to have some RGB control where you don't have RGB control on a, say like an older motherboard or something. Come on now, I got a sticker fighting me. There we go. So that is definitely helpful. I like that. Actually, I don't think I knew those existed until I saw like a Zach's Tech Turf video, and he's definitely good at finding those little things like that. He's also got a giant community too to help him out with that as well. So we're building ours though. One day we'll be knocking down that door. All right, come on, quit going funky on me here. The AMD, or at least the AM4 version of this cooler is much simpler, if I recall. I mean, this isn't all that bad. We're just putting 4 screws on. I just am half distracted, making sure I get it done right. Okay. So we're going to peel the sticker. And the cool thing about this cooler is they spared nothing here as far as expense. And I don't know if I mentioned it. This cooler is about $32 to $35 on Amazon. I compare it a lot to the Hyper 212 Evo. It's kind of like that same design. So if you guys are familiar, this basically performs. I actually tested this cooler against a Hyper 212 and many other coolers quite a while back. I think that's when I first got my hands on my CPU before I did my personal rig rebuild. I tested those. I was like, you know what? Let's hit it with a bunch of coolers. But very good cooler. Stands up to even the biggest of processors like 5950X, etc. So very good stuff. Yeah, put that in here. All right. So I just got to open up this little thermal paste tube. You don't necessarily have to use these. This will be fine. I'm just trying to get it open so I can use it. But this is basically like a 1 or 2 time use thermal paste tube. And I want to get that so you guys see what I'm doing. We're going to do a good little pea-sized blob. Smiley. That's very bad, Smiley. Don't want to get too crazy with it. Alright, and let's just make sure we're orientating the cooler with the V, not upside down. And we're just going to line up the holes. Oh, this has some adjustment, I think, on it too. Yep. Gotta move this back. I think that looked right. Oh, we went flying. Oh no. That's not good. Shoot. Uh-oh, that's not good. It fell apart. I lost pieces to it. Are you kidding me? There should have been something that holds it on. Okay, hold on. I gotta find it. It's on the ground somewhere. Oh boy. Where'd it go? Actually, I might be able to steal one from that AMD. Let's see if it... Does it have the same... Yep, it does. I'll find it. I'm just trying not to waste time. There's a little... That's kind of crazy how that popped off. Now I'm kind of worried, wondering if I can get this one off. But what happened was there's a... On this bracket, that part that holds the screw on basically just popped off. I kind of wish I could just find it real quick. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this one off. I think that was a fluke weird thing. That's not supposed to happen. Well, actually, I got a better plan. Well, I don't want to remove that. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Jeez. I can't believe this. Come on, come on. Giving this 2 more seconds and I'm going to give up. Yep, I'm giving up. Luckily, for the other build, not using Intel, but now I got to pull this off. Well, that's unfortunate. I'll find it. It's just a little piece to this screw that holds it together, kind of as one piece on that bracket. I don't know what the heck. It just like self-destructed on me. So let me just pull this one bracket off. Luckily, we got 2 of these coolers. Otherwise, you guys would probably have seen me frantically searching for wherever that went. But the other build is an AMD build, so it's not going to use the Intel bracket, which now we have a double. Now we have an extra bracket. Slowing me down. Okay. Get this off screen for the moment. Alright. Alright, so this is what we're looking for. Yes, for that little piece of the bracket that holds the screw on, for some reason, decided it did not want to hang out with us. Okay, back to this again, unfortunately. Get that screw started. Get this one started. What's going on, Nathan? Yeah, we're building 2 PCs, man. An Intel and an AMD PC of about $900 to $1,000 each as far as total budget cost. And yeah, so far Intel's kicking my butt as far as that bracket going haywire on us. But let's see what we can get done here now. We got a new one back on. So, going back to getting this ready for drop-in. I think we're set now, guys. Here we go. Nope. What does that need to... I'm going to look at the bracket, see which one is the 1700 setting. Does it say? LGA 1700. It doesn't say on the bracket, but I think I need to go out. Now I'm a little scared to mess with it. Be careful. Okay. I think that's the wider setting. Since this is kind of a universal CPU cooler, there we go. They got it set up so you can put it on basically all Intels. Alright, there we go. Now we're set, guys. Where'd my screwdriver go? Nope, don't lose that. Stand by, getting another screwdriver. Like my Be Quiet screwdriver, it's my favorite. I need to try out one of those LTT screwdrivers. They are pretty amazing from what I hear, but it's also like $150 for a screwdriver. Alright, so if you never install a CPU cooler, you want to alternate in a diagonal pattern to make sure you got even torque on the cooler. Once you got kind of the threads started, you can kind of just go. And that's kind of about where we're at now, so we're just going. Alright, good and tight. I think this is going to look pretty sweet. Alright, too tight. Going for 3 and 4 here. So you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. And spin it that side so you can see that one. How's it going, Smith Tech? Thanks for stopping in. We're building some PCs tonight. 2. If anybody new into the chat has not caught on yet. Alright, so I'm going to just give this kind of like one last little torque. What I do is, I mean, these are spring loaded, so you can only really make them so tight anyway. Just making sure it's got good, even mounting pressure. Alrighty, so that is on, and now the cooler, or the fan, pretty simple to install. It comes with some clips. Here we go with that. So we're just going to pull that out. These are, actually it looks like, did they get, yeah, there's 3? No, 4. Oh, cool. 4 clips, nice. We only need 2. But let's make sure we got this fan orientated the way we want it. So we kind of want it so we can kind of manage the cables pretty well. So I think like just like that should be plenty fine. And as you guys can see, this cooler does not impede on the memory. So we should, if we want to, do another, up to however many more, 4 sticks. This cooler's plenty fine and does not impede, and we can be good to go. Might have to take the fan off when we install the memory and then put it back on, but not a problem. So with this, it just basically is a clip that grabs the side part of the heatsink of the cooler. See if I can get a better shot here this way, how we were going to grab it. So you just want to stick that part in the holes and then pull it across. All set. We are good to go. Now we just want to plug in the PWM power for controlling the fan speed. The RGB stuff we'll deal with a little bit later. Hoping that we have everything that we need that comes with the case that we picked out to get that all set up. But yeah, there we go. We'll tuck away that cable once we get in the case too. And this bracket, crazy. Alright, luckily we don't have to worry about it. Okay, now, thanks to Jonathan for helping me out there, we can get this into the case. Just going to grab that off camera here. So, for the case, this is one part that did differ a little bit from what we originally picked out in the parts hunt stream. By the way, guys, if you did not check that out, feel free to go do so. I like that type of stream too. I also would love some feedback from what you guys think. I think it's kind of a more interactive stream rather than this is just me sitting here building and talking to you guys. I'm able to obviously check the chat because I'm just looking at a computer screen the whole time. Way easier than me kind of buzzing around doing a computer build. But we picked out a case in that hunt, and it was actually a good case, but it just wasn't available. So we weren't able to just, it's like the only place that I could find it was back ordered on Amazon for like 2 weeks. So I didn't want my clients that are receiving these PCs to be waiting forever. I'm just putting this off to the side. This is the back panel, by the way. So we had to go hunting for a new case. The thing about it, like if you're looking at PC Part Picker, it'll be like, hey, it's available, but it also says it's available if something's like on back order. So then it was kind of misleading for a little bit. And I found out, oh, we're going to have to wait. And I didn't want them to wait an extra 2 weeks just for a case. So we picked out a different case. We've got the Fantex, I'm trying to remember what this is called, the Eclipse G360A. 360 meaning 3 RGB fans up front. The only thing I didn't like about this case is, and a lot of case manufacturers do this, we've got no fan in the back, but got a solution. I bought a 3-pack of the same exact fans, so I get to keep one of them. But yeah, this we're gonna add on an additional fan to set off the back, because I mean, I'm not gonna build a case, or I'm not gonna build a system like this without a rear exhaust fan. Come on, especially when you got these nice RGB fans up front. It just will tie into the build so nicely. And also, I wanted to mention that this case was basically the same price as the case that we went with before. I'm trying to remember what we went with before. It's escaping me, but this is about an $85 case. So it looks pretty good. It's Fantex. I love Fantex. I actually use Fantex for my personal build. Good quality stuff most of the time. I've never had a problem with Fantex, so we're going with it. All right, that was a good, easy install of the I/O shield here. Now we're going to try to find the case accessories. I'm losing space here on my desk. Yeah, just in the back side here. I'm going to pull these case accessories out. Fantex always does a really good job with the case accessories too. Even this little box has a nice, label. Most of them don't have that. But what we're doing is we're just pulling this out of the 3.25 drive bay for hard drives. So if we ever need a spinning hard drive, we got space to mount what looks to be 2 of them in here. So plenty of that. Looking at the tie downs, very nice. Good cable management. This whole area is kind of recessed for good cable management, which we're going to need because we actually got some cable extensions. So good stuff. All right, so I'm going to get some room made here and get this case laid down, and we're going to get this motherboard installed. Sorry, I'm just managing lots of PC parts right now. All right, here we go. Should be a pretty decent shot. Probably that's okay. Now the one thing here is this is a micro ATX board. I kind of eyeballed it, and it still fills in the case, I'd say, pretty decently well. This case isn't a huge case. I built one a little while back that was quite a bit larger than this, and I put a micro ATX board into it, and it kind of looked a little funny. This, I think, will fill out nicely, especially after we get the cable extensions done and get the power supply and all that stuff done. Need a quick sip of water. Nathan says, I like the hunt. Yeah, I like that too, because it allows you guys to really contribute to the theme of the stream. Like if I am not seeing something or you guys have ideas, I can basically we can work together and build up a build. So I kind of like it for that. We're gonna have to install some standoffs here. Looks like there's only like 4, 5. Okay, now we got the top 6. So I need one down. This isn't marked. I don't think so, but I think I think actually here is about where we need to go. And then I need one, I think, is that too far? Possibly here. So I need 2 standoffs. It looks like there's one down here. That's for ATX. So what I'll probably do is just pull those off, which unfortunately means I need another attachment to my iFixit. I'm just going to bring it along now so I'm not having to keep walking off camera, wasting more time. Actually, what I'm going to do is get this motherboard box out of the way, so we don't need that anymore. Okay, I'm just pulling off the standoffs. Let's see, I think this one, no, actually this one will work. Just going to test that. So if you guys don't have an iFixit kit and you run into this situation, a lot of times the the case manufacturer will provide you a tool. I'm just kind of curious if it's in here. Yep. It's basically something that will, in essence, do what this bit is doing, is just go over the top of the motherboard, of the standoff, and allow you to back it off. I'd be surprised if Fantex didn't provide one in here, but it's kind of hard to seal. But yeah, keep that in mind if you ever run into that issue. But we're gonna keep going here. Jonathan says, "Hey Dan, I have a tip. Instead of a front, my screen flickered. Instead of a front panel cords go from the bottom, you should leave some space behind the motherboard and run USB, front panel, audio, etc." Yeah, that's a good way to do it too. I definitely like doing that as well. The only thing that sometimes kind of I just want to be careful. You want to be careful doing that because the standoffs, I'm sorry, the SMBs on the back of the motherboard. Dang, this thing's on here tight. I worry sometimes of it cutting into the cables and then causing a short. That is a nice, sleek way of doing that, though, Jonathan. I agree. I've done that before as well. Yeah, there we go. I got that. I think what I'm going to do, not that your idea is a bad idea at all, I'm going to stick with just kind of the more safe approach. Not to say that's really dangerous at all, but just kind of rolling with it, going as fast as I can, because I got another one to do, guys. All right, we got that off. We're going to have an extra standoff I'm just going to take off, so it's not just chilling. All right, and I think that one should go here. That on, and I'm gonna pull this real low bottom one off if I got enough room to twist. My goodness. Oh, wow. I can't quite get it. Oh, man. All right. Here's where iFixit is handy. They got this little flexible deal that you can put your bits onto. Although you kind of lose some torque, but I can't get my hand in there to twist it. There we go. Allows us to break things loose. I just had no room to move my hand. All right, there we go. All right, so for standoffs, we should, like, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a low one. I think we're good now. Grab it by the cooler, bring it all in. And this case has a little nub right here that helps you. That's basically an alignment nub, I call it. Don't know the technical term really, but it helps you kind of get the motherboard set. So it's in there good now. All right, so now we just need some screws to zip it down. All right, so predictions on Super Bowl. Who's going to win, guys? Chiefs or the Eagles? A lot of people seem to be pretty upset that the Chiefs won last night. I thought it was a good game. Both teams got, I'd say, fair enough calls, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, people want to get mad about it. All right, finding our motherboard screws, which appear to be these. Yeah, Corey, I'm kind of guessing the same thing. I'm not sure, like, although I guess the Chiefs are healthy enough. Mahomes was beat up. Oh no, that went underneath. I think the magnet strength of this screwdriver is decreasing over time. I feel like it used to hold screws way better than this, and now I feel like it's struggling. My freaking IO shield just popped out. Get in there. There we go. I'd love to see the Chiefs win. Actually, I like the Chiefs. I like Mahomes. Good players. So Eagles, I think you don't want to sleep on them. I think they're kind of surprised everybody, and now they're the real deal. They're going to the Super Bowl again. I don't know. Where do my screw go? I'm kind of disappointed with this. Maybe my iFixit will be better. Keep dropping my screws because the magnet strength isn't good. Ooh, Lions fan. Sorry about you. Well, I guess I can't say so much. I'm a Browns fan when it comes to NFL, but I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so I'm not a Cowboys fan, so I love watching them squirm when I can. Dak is not the elite. He's not worth the money that he's getting paid. Nor Zeke. Yeah. You're not a PC builder unless you're dropping screws, right? That's why the magnets or magnetized tips on these screwdrivers are nice. And that's going in funky. I have to spin it. I can't really see. Yeah, I got slightly out of alignment. There we go. This is probably the most boring part, guys. I gotta zip in all these screws. And only just do it again. So I really gotta speed it up. I'm hoping I get this one done here in like the next 20 to 30 minutes. We're not going for pretty right off the rip because I got 2 to do. I'll spend some time off stream getting these PCs good and ready for their new owners. Ooh, that one's gonna be tough to get with that cooler. Look at this one. The iFixit magnet is seemingly better than the Be Quiet screwdriver, although the Be Quiet screwdriver has been so good to me for a while. I think there's a way to like remagnetize screwdrivers, right? Get in there. Okay. I'm gonna have to try to use this one. Man, it's got like nothing. Oh, it's barely hanging on. Yeah, that's struggling. What happened to my screwdriver? It doesn't. Oh boy. I don't know how I'm gonna easily get that one. Oh, sorry. Just realized I might have made a boo-boo. Nope. Okay, good. I was hoping I didn't screw up the cable run of that ARGB cable. Alright. I'll just slowly drop it in. Come on. Yep. This Be Quiet screwdriver is done as far as magnetize. It's gone. It doesn't have it anymore. I liked it because the length is good. So I had to use my iFixit screwdriver to get it down in there. Because look at this. This is convenient. I can't get my iFixit screwdriver in there because the cooler's too big. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3. Oh, need one more. Almost all the screws installed. This should be the last one, it looks like. The nub screw you don't need to do. You can actually thread a screw into it, but you don't need to. I've got all of them. This ain't going nowhere. Okay, here we go. Looking pretty good so far, I'd have to say. I really like this part of the case. It's kind of almost like an NZXT thing, where it kind of helps hide the cables. I can still magnetize it. That's what I thought. Yeah, I gotta look into how to do it because I really like this screwdriver, and right now it's failing me. All right, so next, guys, let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling. I'm gonna get. I don't think I need any more of these screws. Oh, when I was talking about the tool, here it is. Oh, I know. Let me put it on here. The tool for doing standoff installs. So it's like a screw that slips over the standoff. Put it down on it. Unscrew. Alright, let me get all these extra screws out of the way. We don't need them. Power supply. So we are staying true to what we found on stream, on the parts hunt stream. And that is nothing more than the Thermaltake BM2 650 watts. This is a bronze rated power supply. It is technically a tier C power supply, which is not bad. It's an upper tier C power supply, so it's plenty good. And the great thing about this power supply too is it looks good. So I was pretty impressed. Like, check this out. This is nice for your extra cables. I mean, that's really well done, like that. And of course we got, power supply cord. We're not going to need that for tonight. Just going to stick that in there. We're just going to get out the unit. But the big main thing here is it's semi-modular, so we can hide away a lot of the, or not even use a lot of the extra cables, which is going to be beneficial to us because we are going to be also using cable extensions. So yeah, this power supply worked out perfect, and the other build is also going to have the same exact power supply. There's no sense in getting a different one, especially when we bought them at the same exact time. So yeah, good looking unit, I'd have to say. Thermaltake makes some good looking stuff. Okay, so let's get this unraveled. This that comes pre-attached to the power supply is going to be the motherboard power, EPS power. Hopefully that's an easy enough run. I think so. Motherboard and EPS, and then the other accessory power we'll have to plug in as we need it. So it should only be for the graphics card. Oh yeah, we'll need SATA to power the RGB stuff. Okay, we're gonna spin this so you guys can see. Put it on this. All right. Build the Intel AMD will fail in 3 to 6 months, and AMD will circle jerk you, if not outright deny your warranty. Friends don't let friends buy AMD. I can't say I quite agree with that. It's not that. I mean, everybody. I think it's. There's going to be someone who has a bad experience with something somewhere, sometime down the road. I've been building tons of AMD machines for a while. If you guys who are not new to the channel know that. Haven't had a single one come back to me for an AMD style failure. I've been running my system for a year straight, and I use it a ton. It's running all the time. It does the content creation. So sorry to hear about that, Lord Raptor 11, but I don't quite agree. Not to say that, you know, it's not unheard of that you run into a bad experience either. So I'm not saying you're a liar or anything like that, but AMD's good stuff. I mean, they're both good, Intel and AMD. I'm sure you can find, if you really go digging, just as many people having problems with Intel. I mean, I wouldn't stand by it if I hadn't had a lot of experience building and doing things with it. So for my clients who are in the chat, don't worry about that. And you got me. There's nothing wrong with AMD. I'm looking for screws that the power supply might have came with. Should have had some. Being a brand new power supply. I guess it didn't? That's interesting. I find that interesting with a brand new power supply that it did not come with the 4 screws. I'm hunting. I might just be missing it. It's not in here. Oh, it is in there. Okay. Good. I was going to say, come on, Thermaltake. This is a pretty nice unit, and you're not going to include some screws? Yeah, they did, and some zip ties. So there we go. All right. Get this back out of the way. We'll have to get it back up front and center here in just a moment when we mess with the cables. All right. Now to speak to AMD, you know, there's been some recent things in some limelight of heat-related failures. I don't think it's 100% conclusive yet. There's been 2 big tech channels that have covered it, Tech Yes City and Greg Salazar. So not to say that is something that maybe it is something that AMD is going to get some backlash on, but I don't think there's enough conclusive evidence yet. I wouldn't. Their method. I watched both their videos on it. Their methodology it's not scientific, so it's just kind of like, hey, it's just kind of their experience. Granted, they see a lot more stuff than I do, so I don't doubt that there may be something going on. But I think it needs to be, when you're saying that there's big time failures, you got to really reproduce it and come up with a lot of evidence. So I'm just waiting to see, you know. And who's to say that an Intel chip can't fail due to heat either? Of course it can. That's what kills components. So are people doing crazy things with their CPUs? Are they overclocking it, not providing enough cooling? I don't know. There isn't enough evidence. Oh, there goes one of my screws. So I'm just going to reserve my opinion, really, to being just simply, we'll see what we see. I think if something really conclusive starts to come up about it, the one channel that would really do some thorough scientific, like related investigative journalism would be Gamers Nexus. If they do a piece on it, then there's something maybe to think about, but I haven't seen anything yet. Oh, great. My screw is visible that I dropped. Unlike that other one from before. Yeah, Nathan, I agree. I mean, some of those failures, who knows what these people have been doing to their CPUs? Like, they overclocking the hell out of it and not really putting enough cooling behind it. Who knows? There really hasn't been enough evidence out there. We're not overclocking here, and as you guys can see, this Vitra V5 is plenty good cooling for these two CPUs to operate in their stock clock speeds and all that stuff. So we're not going to worry about that. Okay, I'm going to kind of tuck the PC off to the side because we've got... Oh no, I forgot to install the freaking extra cables. I always do this. Dang it. We needed at least one SATA connection. You guys were supposed to stop me. I got into talking about AMD and got sidetracked. So, and we also need the PCIe. So there's that. There's, I think this is PCIe. Looks like it. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Dang it. I gotta pull that power supply back off. Didn't get too far. Can I reach it? No, I can't even see what the hell's going on back there. Alright, that shouldn't take too long. That was some more conversation, I guess. Randall says he's been using his Ryzen 7 3700X on an Asus X570. No issues. Yeah, I've been on my 5950X X570 for over a year. No issues. If anything, that's going to produce probably the most heat. I do have a 360 AIO on it. I am keeping it plenty cool. But, yeah. Okay. We forgot to do this. We need to put in the rest of the cables on the PSU. I'll switch the view here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Corey asks, what headset do I have? I am using the Corsair Virtuoso SE. It's a pricey one, and I've loved it all up until you might have missed some of the conversation I had with it. For some reason, on my PC only, it's acting funky. Like, I'm getting some strange static. So I don't think that's really a means to judge it for what it is, because I love it for everything else. Now, the other thing too is the ear cups on this headset do deteriorate and fall apart. That's pretty common with a lot of headsets. You could actually buy replacement ones, which I do have here. So these, I have a replacement ear cups, and they're actually like more foamier. It's a lot more comfortable, and there's a company that sells those on Amazon. So I just went ahead and got that for replacement. Yeah, but I like the headset a lot. I've had a lot of compliments about this headset sounding really good. It doesn't sound like your typical kind of like digitally sounding headset like you would get with some cheaper headsets. And yeah, so I like it for that. That was kind of the main thing, is I wanted something with a really good mic. Wasn't originally going after using it for live streams. It just kind of is a little simpler for me to do that. But yeah, I'd still recommend it. I think whatever issue I'm having is particular to me. I'm still kind of troubleshooting it. I don't know if we'll get to the end of it. What I kind of want to do is like get another Corsair headset and see if I have the same issues. So I'm thinking about picking up just a cheaper, simpler one and kind of playing with that. Because maybe my motherboard, I've even updated motherboard BIOS, thinking maybe BIOS is acting funky with the USB. I've done everything. It works completely fine, as you can see on the PC I'm using to stream, which is not my main rig. And I use it for work too. I take it and plug it into my laptop, no problem. I don't get it. So, Jonathan, that headset you're talking about, is that I'm not a huge audiophile. Like, I don't really keep up with the headset stuff much. I usually just find one, I like it, and I use it for a while. So is that one, like, better, technically, like a better... I know Logitech makes really good stuff. is that like a better headset than what I'm using? I mean, I think the cost of this headset is more, it's inflated because it's Corsair and it's got all the fancy things. I mean, it's a nice looking headset, but yeah, I think it's more of an inflated price than what it really needs to be, because I think it's like $250. God dang, get in there. Ooh, this is gonna be tight getting the CPU through there. Holy, come on. Oh, I think I can push it up and then bring it down. Please, 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 please. Oh, I forgot. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We've got to take care of our cable extensions. So let's quickly talk about that, just real quick. This PC, the client is particular about how he wants it to look. Excuse me. He's after something that is going to have like red and black aesthetics. So we've got a couple sets, or what I'm targeting. Oh, that's the other one. I need this one. We've got some red cable extensions, and what we'll do is basically kind of set the RGB to red, and the GPU's got some red accents on it. So I think overall it's going to look pretty good, and you guys will see it here towards the end. But yeah, we've got some red Asia Horse cable extensions that we're going to be using. Great cable extensions. You know, they're only like $20, $25 at the most. But I figured this would be a good way to kind of add some extra red to the build here. So before I went ahead and threw that cable through, I want to get these on there, because actually these might be able to get through that hole a little better than the thermal take holes. So what we got here is, it'll come with 2 PCIe and one CPU. I don't think they're marked, but one easy way to tell is your PCIe ones will be separated like this, so it'll be a 6+2. So these are the PCIes, this is the CPU. So let's go ahead and work on that real quick. Make this a 4-hour stream. Okay, so that's PCIe. We'll go ahead and plug in one of these already. And the great thing about this is what it does is it saves us this bulk. So what this would do is be sticking out through the front side of the case. I hate these daisy chained cables. So what this allows us to do is plug in a nice clean single run like this. So that's the only thing that's visible from the other side. Get that plugged in. Switch the view here so it's a little easier to see. So we got that. We'll put the combs on. I think I'll probably work on that maybe towards the end. We'll see. I think it is easier to do the combs here when they're set out, but sometimes the cables orient a particular way, and I've done that before with them sitting out like this and ended up having to pull them back off and redo them. So I'm just attaching things. It's really just for the sake of time here, guys. Otherwise I probably would take my time and do that. So we're just kind of trying to fly through this because we've still got the AMD build to go through. And we've got, here's what the one I was really looking for, at least as a first thing to do. Alright, this is CPU because it's all singularly attached. I'll get that on there like that. And what we're going to be doing here is, now I'll switch the view so you guys can see what I'm about to do. So we'll send this up through here, hoping that it can pass through. Man, that's a really tight, get in there, come on. That's a tight pass through. It's like I almost have to like push it upwards and then through. Golly, I hope I can get this. I'm gonna get this dust filter out of the way so I can see a little better. Gonna have to pivot just ever so slightly. Come on, baby. What actually might be easier, I wonder if I can send this part through. Yeah, I think this will actually go through the other side easier. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Oh, sorry about that. That probably sounded awful. There we go. Work smarter, not harder. There we go. Alright. Yeah, I was trying not to have to really back off anything there, Jonathan. So Look at that. And the damn thing. Okay, I don't get it. Okay. I was just working hard, I guess, not smart. Alright, and the next one here we're going to send through is the 24 pin. Make sure that's visible for you guys as well. I think it's more towards the top. I can't see, so I'm just going. We'll get it right about there. My monitor's doing funky things. Let me reset it. I'm gonna get the stream PC figured out. It's just got some quirky things it's doing. Alright. So we're going, let's go one more up. 24 pins, way up there actually, pretty high. And then we gotta spin it. Ta-da! And we'll get those, like I said, we'll get those combs on there and make it look real nice. Probably something I'll do after the stream, but there's a bit of it so far. And let's get this one in here. This is the EPS. Get them attached to each other. Yeah, this one is like, I have to completely flip it. Get them attached to each other. Come on. Oh, it goes the other way. Slide together, please. There we go. Came apart. Cable struggles. It's always the cables that give you the hardest time, right? Oh, come on. Quit falling apart on me. Eh. It's like I get it in there and then it falls apart. Oh, it's not lined up. There we go. Now it's tight. Beautiful. Okay, so it's pretty hard to see me doing that. I was getting the EPS power. There we go. Pull that back through a little bit. That's going to take some tightening to work on. But got that going, and then the last one will be for the video card, which we've got plugged in. We're just not quite ready to do just yet. So what we're going to do here is work on getting the rest of the front panel connections set up. So this HD audio is a perfect one here to be working on right now. And that should come in right about here. And only go one particular way because there'll be a missing pin. Just got to flip it. Beautiful. USB 3.0 is on the other side. I need to just pull that through and probably go here. And then spin it. Alright, there's that. And what we got here is just some extra connectors that come off the RGB controller. I'm trying to find the front panel stuff. Where is it? Front panel. It's probably tied up tight. See if we can find it real quick. Looking for it here. Nope, 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 nope. Oh my goodness, where is it? Really tied up in there, I guess. Is it not sticking through? No. I will find it. I have a particular set of skills. What? Where is it? Hello, front panel. Oh, I think it's like jammed up. What is that? No, that's a RGB. Oh, come on. Where is it? I've never ran into the... Oh, here's one piece of it. Okay, I'm going to find the header. So that's power switch. What is... Should have USB. Yeah. Alright, I'm just going to trace where this is going and find the rest of it. Okay, that's HD audio. This is... Oh. Okay, USB 3.0. Oh, did they... That's that. Do I literally only have one? Yeah, okay, that's USB 3.0. So I got a power switch right here. Is this only the... This is only the power switch. So HDI, USB, power, and then that switch. So there should be a switch for like the RGB controller to plug in, but maybe... Well, it's probably getting power from the SATA controller, because I don't see anything else. Like literally nothing. Here's that SATA that I was talking about. Okay, well, let's plug this in. That's, man, coming down to one little thing, just only the power switch. I mean, that's an advancement. Yeah, because really, like, we've got USB plugged in already. We've got HD audio plugged in, and the other button that's on the top here, which there we go, is right there. That's to the USB, or I'm sorry, to the SATA, SATA RGB, and that's going to be powered. Like, we're not getting power from the actual motherboard header. We're getting power from SATA, so I guess all we need to do is plug it, and it doesn't have a hard... Most cases now, I think modern ones don't really have hard drive indicators anymore. No, like, whoever really even looks at that? So this is nice. All I gotta do is plug in power. Bam, done. I'll take that. Oh, the power LED. Yeah, it doesn't even have power LED switches, so some of that... We'll see what happens, but yeah, it doesn't look like those would like illuminate. So yeah, I guess we just have a power switch and that's it. That makes that easy. Okay, so we have a big giant cable mess right now. Again, guys, like I said, this isn't about pretty right now because we we still have another build to do. I'm hoping to get this done in like the next 5 minutes. So let's talk about the next part and basically the last part. As we talked about with this build, and as you guys can already see, we've got a red and black aesthetic going. So we're getting there. Obviously, it'll start coming together with these lights illuminating, but check out this GPU. So this is one deviation from the original build, or parts hunt. We were going for a RX 6550 XT, and we ended up, or 6650, I'm sorry, XT, and we ended up with a 6600 XT, so the non-50 edition. So I got to talking with the clients, and we're like, look, you know, you're gonna get like maybe 5, maybe 7% performance increase for the extra money that those cost, about 50, 60 more dollars. So we ended up picking up these off of eBay, and look how clean this card is. It's like immaculate. It's like it was never used. I'm stunned, and you know, it's got the stickers still over the screws, so like, you know, I tested out the card. It works completely fine. He actually had all the plugs plugged up too. I just pulled one off for testing, but yeah, this is a beautiful card, and the aesthetic is just, you know, it matches so perfectly. So I've got, you know, the red and blacks on this card, which we'll see visible here, you know, being inside the system. I think it goes very nicely. What do you guys think? This is an extra, so we can get this out of the way. Okie doke. Let's get this card in. So what we should be doing here is just undoing this little cover plate here. Oh, it comes straight off. And we just need to pull off the top two. PCIe brackets. There's one. I really gotta speed it up. Yeah, Nathan, I think so. Especially, like, we were really going after matching the aesthetic that the client was after. And I think this definitely does the job. And this is going to be a great performing card. 1080p, massive frames per second. Even some 1440p if we wanted to, I think. Alright, so we're getting that in. And make sure everything's all centered. Yep, solid push. And it goes. Now the red is starting to come together. Especially after I get that cable up there. So let's get this card zipped on down. And it's good and straight too, no sag. Love it. Okay, that is installed. So I think what I'll do, because this to kind of like hide this just one little dinker cable, because we only have one there, I'm gonna bring this through the bottom. Yeah, that's gonna look good. That way we're showing off a lot of the color here of the cable, and kind of adding to the aesthetic of the build. Beautiful. And as mentioned, we'll get some combs on that. But yeah, red and black is definitely starting to come together here, for sure. Now, one thing I did forget is we got that fan that we got to put out back. So that is about it. Let's get that on there. And check the chat. Take a quick sip of water. Jack Gavin says, I have an RTX 2060, looking to get a 3060 Ti. So that's, yeah, I mean, that would be a heck of an upgrade. Just make sure you got power. I don't think you need much more difference in terms of power when it comes running as 2060 versus a 3060 Ti. I'm looking for my knife. I'm getting swarmed by stuff. But yeah, that would be a massive upgrade as far as gaming performance for you. Actually, funny you mentioned that. So if you guys aren't new to the channel, you probably remember the $800 PC that I did just like basically last month. That client already wants a GPU upgrade. It was a 2060 Super. I mean, solid card. But yeah, I mean, I figured that was coming at some point, and him and I also were talking through that, and we're like, look, let's not go crazy on GPU just yet. Let you get a feel for PC gaming, see what you like, and if you really like it, you know, we can always come back and upgrade, and I'll buy back your GPU, because I'm always building stuff. I'll put it back into another build. And so that, yeah, we're looking at probably doing a 3060 Ti, possibly a 3070. The way the market is just, it's still collapsing. Well, not say collapsing, but it's still going down. I had someone comment on one of my videos just today mentioning that he's seeing 3090s go for in the 600s. I was like, no way. Nuh-uh. And I went to eBay and started looking, like, holy crap, he's right. So you can, I mean, they're used, obviously, but in the 650s, the 700 to 800 range, where they used to be unobtainable and or over $2,000 before. Just unbelievable. Let's see here. Catching up here. Those PCI brackets are better than what most cheap cases use, says Jonathan Talks Hardware. Oh yeah, massively better. They're one, not being the breakaway ones. They have some good rigidity to them. They look good. Oh yeah, you're totally right. Absolutely. Jack Gavin says, I ordered a Samsung Odyssey G5 34 curved ultra wide 1440p 165 Hz 1 millisecond response time. Woo! That's a heck of a monitor, man. Yeah, I think you'll be pretty happy with that. Alright, let's get this fan in here. I'm kind of regretting that I didn't do this earlier. Should have, but I think it'll be okay. I think we can just stuff these cables back behind, and by the looks of it, because this basically is the same exact fans that the case comes with, all this will be plug and play. So I'll just be able to basically plug these in. There's extra cable plugs for the existing fans that I can plug this basically in, daisy chain up the RGB, and we'll be good to go. And we'll have controllable features with the case, or, you know, with the motherboard if we choose to do so. Now this does come with some dampeners. We'll put that on real quick. And that's something you put on the back of the fan, kind of make sure it doesn't vibrate. But it's, oh, okay, just pop out. It's like, how do these go on? Little sticky dampeners. Put that on the fan. Make sure it's good and quiet. It gave you this thing gave me oh well, I forgot I got the 3-pack. I was like, why do I have so many? Duh. There's 2. And I think they also give you enough to do both sides, like if you were gonna sandwich the fan into like a cooler or something like that. Here's 3. You guys really probably can't see what I'm doing. It's kind of a hard angle to see what I'm doing. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just putting these little rubber dampeners on the fan here, and they just kind of pop out of the what came with the product, and then sticking it on the fan here, so that way it quiets it down. We're not vibrating plastic on metal. And get this fan installed. I'm really trusting my be quiet. I shouldn't. It doesn't have a good magnet. I'm gonna remagnetize. I'm gonna look up a video tomorrow. Figure out how to do that. It can't be that hard, right? I think as Jonathan said, it's like sharpening a knife. Alright, get this about centered in the middle and zip it down. Our fan text logo is right side up. Looking good. I really want to get a... Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. Should I build the other PC? I don't have 2 monitors, so I guess we can't really race it. So how about this? We'll get this one done. We'll do a post. Make sure things are working to an extent that's not going to waste time, and then just jump right into the AMD build. How's that sound? Or should I build the other build and then post test them one at a time? Post first, then go to AMD, or build the AMD build and then post test both of them at the end. I only have 1 extra monitor that I can plug in, so I can't really like run a drag race against them, and that wouldn't be real fair either, because it'd be like doing memory training and all that stuff anyway. All right, so here we have that. Now we've got that fan in the back. Nice. That definitely completes the build, I'd say pretty good. So let's see. What do you guys say? Should we check to see if it posts now, or wait and build the next one and then post test them both at the end? I'll take a drink of water while I wait for your responses. Jonathan says, do it at the end. I guess I could put a poll out there. I haven't quite done that. Let's see, how do I do that? Engage with audience. Start a poll. Alright. I'm just saying post test Intel now. Alright, let's go. What do you guys think? I'm just going to clear off the table a little bit because I got so much stuff I got to do it anyway, just to continue on. Oh, talk amongst yourselves. like I said to you guys, if you're looking at the build like, yo, that thing, it's got some cables that need to be managed up. I know. We're building 2 PCs tonight, so we don't have time to do all that twice, especially. And if you guys are new to the stream or members of the stream from before, you know that I usually just get them built, tested, and post some beautiful after pictures. But yeah, time is of the essence. This room is a disaster now. I got so much stuff just everywhere. Okay, let's see what we got here. Looks like the majority of the poll is coming in as yes, post-test it. 57% saying that if you edge as a moderate, yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I gotta work towards next is getting some moderators in here. Okay. I guess we're post-testing. 57% of you want to see it done. Right here, right now. So, let's go. Okay. Getting out my portable monitor. So, I've been anxious to try this out, guys. So, my wife, for Christmas, she's like, hey, you got to step up your game. You know. This whole go retrieve a monitor action, you got to cut that out. Yeah, I've been wanting one of these. So she hooked me up with a portable monitor. Boom, look at, oh geez, I'm about to break it. It's a magnet. Oh, it's stuck together now. Check it out. Let me do this again. But specifically what we're going to do is use this to test out this machine right here, right now. Yeah, so you guys probably know, some of you probably know who the net guy is, and I've been kind of, he loves to give me trash about my going to retrieve my monitor, because I would take like the end of the stream and be like, hold on, I forgot to go grab a monitor, and so I guess him and my wife were chatting, gave her an idea to go get me one for Christmas. So awesome Christmas gift. Oh, I need... Okay, I think I got a plug here. I'm just looking for an open plug without unplugging everything. Beautiful. We're still running the stream, right? Okay, good. Realized that was kind of dicey. I was messing with the outlet that's also running the streaming PC right now. So anyway, yeah, the net guy hooked up my wife with this. She bought it for me for Christmas. We're putting it to the test for the first time right here, right now with you guys as a post-test output to see how this PC does. And I gotta plug in the PC. I need an extra plug. Yeah, hang on. Stand by, hold please. Should have one. Here, this one's plugged in. Beautiful. Okay. My power switch was already flipped on. I probably flipped it accidentally. Okay, so let me put the whole shebang here for you. Okay, so let's go. 3, 2, 1, power on. Am I hitting the right button? And it's a fail. Just kidding, hold on. I think I accidentally... That is on. Power there, power there, power there. Make sure we're plugged in the back. Double check. Good, good, good. One sec. This is a power switch, right? Yeah, power switch. Let's see. Power switch. Yep, looking like it. Hello? Everything's plugged in. I have a feeling this front panel stuff is what's going on here. Let's see. I'm gonna give it power. I didn't actually plug in that SATA power. I should have, right? We want to see the RGB lights. Let me plug that guy in. I can't imagine this being the reason why it's not turning on though. Huh. What is the deal? CPU, power supply on. Yeah, that's the power switch. I plugged it in the right spot. Power reset, reset power. Yep. Come on now. Don't do this to me. I guess this is at least providing some entertainment, huh? Is he going to actually turn the PC on? Well, let me jump it. See if it goes on. Okay. So I didn't have the front panel plugged in correctly somewhere. Alright, do we get a post? Ooh, I like that strip along the side. This might take a sec because the memory's going to train. Do I have this thing turned on? Did not look. Oh. Ah! Post! Okay, perfect. Yeah, I like this monitor. I'm a little interested why that power switch, it says power switch on it. When it was plugged in the power switch location, it was not turning the PC on. Something I have to investigate with the, because there's a lot of cables that aren't plugged in. As you guys can see, the fans aren't spinning right now. The RGB on the, we got a couple things not running, but the main thing is just to make sure that this is the fine art of PC building. I like that it turned on red. It must have known we were going for the red aesthetic, but that's going to look pretty sweet. The RGB on the memory obviously is controllable. We'll have to just download the software for that. But yeah, get that set to red. Get the cooler set to red. Here, let's tinker with it for just a second, because we got fans that need to plug in. We've got RGB that needs to plug in. All kinds of stuff. So it looks like that will connect. Oh man, there's so many extra plugs back here with all the RGB control. Yeah, that's a lot. We'll get it all set up though. Oh, I found another. Oh, that's the power switch. I accidentally pulled it through. That's so weird. So fear not. Oh, here we go. I wanted to like get this one fan in the back running. Plug in, plug in. Yeah. All right. So there's one in the back. Yeah, I've got a bunch of PWM's cables to plug in to get all the fans spinning. I'm looking for like a central point to plug that in on the back of the case, so that's something I'm gonna have to just go discover. Never built with this case before, but yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, obviously it's not a complete build yet. I think it looks pretty solid as far as the aesthetic that we're going for. Again, don't mind the RGB on the memory, because that's going to be probably set to red to match the case. But I think the whole power strip or the LED strip along the side's a nice little touch. This will obviously be clear tempered glass on the side. I just had that pulled off at the beginning, but looking pretty sweet. I think that looks pretty sweet. Some learning lessons to move forward on the next one. But yeah, we got to get moving. All right, so just curious, before we officially call it done, I'm going to put this power switch back on, because I jumped it on the motherboard. If you guys saw me, I just stuck a screwdriver on there. It's like the cable upside. I mean, it usually doesn't matter. Let's find out. Huh. Something maybe might have come unplugged at the top. I don't know. I'll have to trace out this cable. I'm putting it in the right spot. It doesn't want to turn on. Yeah, the rear fan is plugged in, at least the RGB D-Man PC1. We were just basically we were just checking for a post. We've got a post. We've got a fully functional operating system. The devil's in the details with PC builds, guys, if you know, especially if you're We've got 4 RGB fans, actually 5 if you count the CPU cooler. So we've got a lot of extra RGB cabling work to do, which would take another hour plus. I'm not going to waste your guys' time, especially knowing that we've got a secondary PC to build here. So let's get rolling. Let's roll with this. This one is done. It's Caden, your PC is looking beautiful. It'll look 1,000 times better, obviously, once we're done with it completely, because this is what we got to deal with out back. Woo! Yeah, that's a lot of cables that we gotta get tied down and cabled, managed up, and you got to put the cable combs on the extensions, all that stuff, and then get the RGB all cohesively working. So fear not, it's an operational system. It's just not, the last 5% of it isn't done. Okay. Jonathan said he saw me sweating. He's right. I'm getting hot. I'm turning this overhead fan on real quick. That is the only thing with doing these streams with a headset on. It starts to cut off circulation in your head. Alright, so... Oh, D-Man, you once killed a motherboard by plugging in a fan while the system was on. Wow. I've never had that happen. You must have, like... That's a fluke. That's... I guess, because a lot of these headers are like the CPU header and the RGB stuff. They're like 5 volts, so they're really low power. That's really interesting. I wonder if maybe somehow some extra static got caught up somewhere and zapped something crucial. All right, so we are moving right into the AMD, guys. So that was about just a hair under 2 hours. We got to move. Let's see if we can get this next one built in an hour. I'm gonna more or less a lot of it came from chatting. So I'm gonna try to work hard and fast here. We don't want the. I think the clients are still in the chat watching me build, and the guy who's build is an AMD build. He's like, all right, ready to see my PC come together. So, all right, so speaking of that, you can see me assembling some things on a motherboard. We are missing a part for the AMD build, which is the motherboard. We've got some bad weather here in the DFW area. Actually, I think it's kind of sweeping across the country. And a part was supposed to be delivered 2 days ago, which is not still delivered. So that being the motherboard, which is a pretty crucial part. Luckily, I have this one on hand. I'm actually going to have a video on this one, so pay attention. You might see this again. But we're using this for now, just to get the PC built. I'm going to loan it to him if we end up having further delays on that motherboard. So no big deal there. We'll just swap the motherboard when it comes in. So that'll just be something that happens offline that you guys won't see, unfortunately. But as far as building the PC, like, we're pretty much there, and we're doing everything here by the book. And it won't really change that motherboard versus this one's just a different motherboard. Different AM4 motherboard. So, what do we got here? We've got... This is an AM4 B450 motherboard, Tomahawk Max. It's actually a really nice, big, full-size board. The one that we got for the client is a Micro ATX, just like that. It was actually a DS3H, so it's the same thing that we found in stream, so nothing different there. But like we've got a situation with motherboard that we have to get past. Luckily, I had this. I really luckily that we have this. But what CPU are we going to throw in it? Well, we've got a Ryzen 7 5700X. These things are great buys right now, guys. They're obviously last generation, so was the other CPU and the other machine, because buying current gen is obviously expensive. These 5700s are coming. I think I got this for like 230 bucks. Actually, yeah, right at about 230 bucks. So value-wise, the 12600K that went into the Intel build is about the exact same. Now, obviously a very different kind of CPU. That one has, it's P cores and E cores. This is just straight raw, 8 cores, 16 threads. It's gonna be a heck of a gaming CPU, just like the other one. So yeah, I mean, we also upgraded the CPU in this build because You know, these guys were getting anxious, and you know, I don't blame them. Hey, you know, what little upgrade can we make for maybe another extra $100? And I told Corey on this one too. Let's throw a better CPU into it, because you really crank up that 6600 XT. It's gonna do pretty high frames in the titles that they want to do. I think like Fortnite and Valorant and stuff like that. So it's gonna rip. So this sets them up to basically come back in the future and just upgrade the GPU to pretty much anything they want, because this CPU is a pretty solid CPU. All right. Sean says, I figured out what was wrong with my PC. Turns out RAM issue. I overlooked that. RAM issue? Okay, like what? Incompatible RAM? That's interesting. All right, so we're getting the CPU. Now, this is a very different kind of CPU install. I've been doing lots of AMD installs on the channel for a while. Now Intel is becoming a good mainstream budget CPU to use as well. Just going to be careful when we open this clamshell. Because this one has the pins on the CPU versus the pins being on the motherboard, if you guys didn't know. Although the latest gen Ryzen's are now lane grid array, which is pins on the motherboard as well. But yeah, this is what we're dealing with here. So all those pins, we got to be careful not to bend anything. And get this installed. So line up the triangles. This is the same way as we did with the other one. I feel like Ryzen is way easier to install. A lot of people say it's more nerve-wracking. I think it's just nerve-wracking getting out of the package, making sure that you don't yank it open accidentally, the CPU goes flying. But I feel like the Ryzen CPUs, at least of this generation, AM4 platform, are way easier to install. Okay, so we've got CPU installed. Like I said, we're going to kind of rip and zip here. We're going to try to get this PC built in under an hour, especially now we've got some things to be looking for. So next we got RAM. This is the same RAM, although slightly higher megahertz. Mega transfers is really the technical term. So we've got 3600 mega transfers. That doesn't mean that the 3200 mega transfers for the Intel is slower or a worse choice. Actually, Intel isn't as sensitive to these things. Everybody knows that the Infinity Fabric with AMD requires kind of a faster RAM. So not to say that 3600 wouldn't work either. But yeah, we're going with this as 3600 cast latency 18. So slightly looser timings, but faster mega transfers. Basically, it's kind of a wash, but same type of RAM. And also, I think this is actually a hair bit more expensive, only by about $5 for AMD, or I'm not sorry, necessarily AMD, but for this 3600 mega transfers kit. Make sure we get that in there. Good. I don't think I heard it click. Yep. Okay, there we go. Not building on the motherboard box because I didn't have one for this board. Because actually, this board I picked up secondhand locally. I've already tested it and everything. But I picked this up secondhand locally for a really good deal, which I really want to share with you guys. That'll be the next PC, or that'll be the next video, really, that comes out for the channel. All right, gotta get the cooler, and now I do have for Corey's build a aftermarket, because this motherboard and the other motherboard, being the B450 DS3H, doesn't have the built-in heatsink like the newer, I guess, B560 board that we just saw from the Intel build. So I went and got Corey a black heatsink for his ultimate motherboard that he's going to end up with. I'm going to go ahead and not install this for now, just because, well, actually, I guess I can, because I can just pull it right out. So actually, that's not bad. That's not going to determine anything. But I was just thinking, you know, maybe it'd be more difficult to remove, but it shouldn't be. So we'll show you what we got here. We got a aftermarket. Now, this is more of an aesthetic thing. It's not really necessary. Like I said, these SSDs don't get very hot. But it's more of an aesthetic thing, because the SSD has this, you know, white sticker on it. It's kind of ugly. So we're just putting a black heat sink on it to make it look nice. So it's more of just an aesthetic thing. It will offer a little bit of extra cooling performance, but Sean Ferguson says, what is your opinion on overclocking, and do you think it's worth it? So yeah, we were kind of talking about that earlier. It really depends on, I'd say, what you're comfortable with, your knowledge. Like, I'm comfortable with overclocking. I've done tons of videos on overclocking. I've personally overclocked my own systems. I just haven't done it recently. It's not going to hurt your system so long as you're doing it correctly. Obviously, you want to be careful with the amount of voltage you're putting to the CPU, and you want to, make sure that it's stable, all that stuff. That's typical overclocking things. I had an 8700K that I overclocked a steady 5 gigahertz for, I think I was running it that way for 4 years. It was my previous content creation and gaming PC prior to the one I have now, which I built just about this time last year. That was my very first ever stream, actually, if you guys want to go back and watch it. But yeah, I had that thing over. It's fine. There was no issue with it whatsoever. So I'm of the personal. My opinion is I think it's fine as long as you're doing it safely and correctly. But do you get a ton out of it? Sure, here and there. Depends on what you're doing. But I kind of like old man style in it now, where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna run it as it is, and I don't really care for the extra 5%, maybe even 10% performance as it is. Like, I'll just, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's a tinker thing. So if you're interested into it, I would say do your research and make sure that you do it correctly and you're not, doing anything that could be of risk to your components. All right, I'm just measuring out making sure that this, oops, that's my screen display. So making sure this thermal pad will cover the SSD, which it will just fine. So we're going to get that down on the thermal or the SSD side. It's kind of hard to do. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. And then, let's see, this should go over the top. I think then it screws in. Yeah, I've done one of these before, so we're just going to pull the other sticky side up here. These are nice, guys, if you got, I think they're like $8 for this kit on Amazon. I'll have a link to it. Like I said, I was running a bit behind today as far as prep for the stream, and then had some things come up, but I'll have links to everything that I'm using, even this little mini heatsink cover or SSD cover. So make sure I'm not overlapping in a way that's going to be preventing me from getting this thing attached to the motherboard. All right, there we go. And then here we just line up that part of it. Beautiful. So now that looks pretty good. There's no white sticker, and there should be some screws somewhere. Hello? Where are the screws? There they are. No? There they are. Little tiny screws, and they give you a little screwdriver, so I got like 10 of these things now. Don't have to screw in like all of them. I'm just gonna do like 4, like 1 on each side, basically. Jeez, this thing is tiny. I don't think this is magnetic either, so I'm just gonna. There we go. There's 1. Oh, that's an M.2. Are these different? No, these are different. Okay. Well, that is different. A different screw. Still threaded in. What the? It's the only one that's different. I don't know. That's odd. I'll put this other one in then. This is just tedious. So getting the screws on here, like that. This one, trying to get it to bite. Doesn't seem to want to, for some reason. Come on. What are you doing? Have it lined up perfectly. Okay. Let's see, anybody else here that got some questions or comments? Let's see, we got someone saying hi in the chat. Oh, my dang monitor keeps flickering here. Sorry, guys. What is that? Sorry if I butcher your name. I'm really trying here. Akishi? Akishi. Sorry, man. I really apologize. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining into the stream. We are about ready to get this motherboard into... That one screw is just fighting me. I'm going to try a different one. There we go. That's good. Perfect. Okay, so as we can see here, just going to install the SSD just the same way, like any other. And I think the kit comes with, that's what this other screw is. This, I think, is for the motherboard. Yeah, there we go. So the one's different than all the others. And it's a black screw too, so it kind of works well with the motherboard. So when we get the other motherboard in, we'll just simply unscrew that and we'll have that ready. So it'll be already in that little heat sink enclosure ready for Corey's ultimate motherboard. And we got some extra thermal pads. I'm collecting those things now. All right, so next cooler. Let's get zipping here. As we all know, we just saw before, we're using the same exact cooler as we did with the Intel build. We're just going to, basically the only difference is just going to be the AMD bracketry installation, which I believe uses the AMD backplate. That's why I installed it earlier, if I remember how the thermal, or the Vitrue V5 goes. And I'm going to use that thermal paste I used from the other one, because I still have some. If I can find it, because I can't find it. Alright, so this is only for Intel. Yep, so this goes back in the box. I think we'll need those screws. Need that. The Intel stuff. That's AMD. We already got the Intel stuff out from earlier because we had to borrow a screw for some reason. That one just self-destructed on us. That's so odd. Let's double check our instructions, but I believe we should be able to screw it into the existing AM4 mounting system. Let's see here, we're just double checking. That's Intel. All right. Bracket part, yep. So it just screws into the existing. So all we got to do, beautiful, is take those screws off, screw it in. Hold on, let me make sure. It says installation back, remove the original AMD bracket part and keep the installation backplate. Okay, so I just got to remove, that's right, got to remove these plastic top mounting pieces or whatever. We're using the existing backplate, whereas with the Intel one we had to install the backplate. So here's a win for AMD right here. It's going to make this CPU cooler installation process so much faster. Sorry, I'm just trying to rip and zip, guys. I want to try to get this done in under an hour, which I think we're in a good spot to do. Alright, so let's get this bracket here rolling. Yeah, Nathan, you're right. Everything does seem to come with a multi-screwdriver. So let's test the bracket first. I believe, actually. Yeah. So this will fit AM3 and AM4. So AM3 is old, but it's easy for them to tool this stuff together. So we just had to move. Hopefully this one won't self-destruct. Move the screw, the spring screw back. So make sure that. Okay, that's what I should have done before with the Intel as well. Okay, so then let's make sure this is orientated correctly. So that'll go on the underneath side like that. Get our little screws here. Come on, get out there. Not only that, the amount of little baggies, if you save these, man, you'll have so many, like for parts like this. So if you ever think you're gonna need something like that, you should have plenty if you build plenty of PCs like I do. What I'd like to get is a oh man, am I doing that? Okay, I think so. Yep. I'd like to get a screwdriver. Oop. A battery operated screwdriver. Just to try it out. I never built a PC with a power tool. Like, you don't need it. But they make those ones that are specific for, like maintaining electronics that don't have real strong torque to them that couldn't be damaging. I've seen some tech YouTubers use them. Alright, so we are going to peel this guy off. If I can get my fingers on it. Here we go. Make sure we don't install that with the sticker on. And let's just double check before we put down thermal paste. I had a feeling I did that. Gosh darn it. I got the bracket. Let's see. Well, actually, hold on. Yeah. What did I do wrong? Oh, do I need to move it back out? I think I do, actually. This is why you check. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how I miscalculated that. But we're just double checking. Everything is... Oh, okay. So one is up, one is back. That's interesting. That doesn't seem right, but... If it screws down, it screws down. No. I think I got the brackets on funky. Yep. Should have looked at the directions a little bit tighter. Should be... Okay, it's saying the way the bracket is... Yeah, I got one, I think, on the wrong way. So they kind of should, like, point at each other. Oh, jeez. I got them both wrong. Here I am saying I don't want to waste time. Jax, you got a question, man? Feel free to put it in the chat. I've got some friends here that are also PC builders, and I will do my best to answer you as I'm building, so feel free, man. That's what this is all about. This isn't about just watching me. I'd love for you guys to interact, ask questions, interact with each other. This is a community building process. This isn't about just watching boring me mess with screws on a freaking CPU cooler. So what do you need help with, man? I'm gonna try to get this. Here I was thinking, oh, I got this perfect, and I did it completely wrong. So you guys should be experts now on the Vitra V5 cooler installation, right? You've seen it done on Intel. Now you're seeing it done on AM4. You should be experts by now. Yeah, Jax, feel free, because I know Jonathan Talks Hardware. I know several other guys here are PC builders. So if you got a question, don't hesitate to ask. Also, another really good way of getting help. I don't think I made the plug earlier in the stream because I was busy resolving a monitor issue. I have a Discord, and it's in the description of this stream video and all my videos, and on my just home channel. But if you want extensive help, it might be a little easier to work with you on Discord if you got some issue that's going to be a lot of back and forth. Feel free to join the Discord. Like I said, there's people there that are in this chat that are there that can help you. I can help you. We've got a channel that is specifically tailored for PC troubleshooting and build help. So if you got a question that you need help with, jump in that channel too. If you're not getting enough out of this stream right now. Okay, I gotta push those back. Almost there, guys. Because I was tinkering with these. Okay, there we go. That, I think, should cover us. Beautiful. There we go. Okay. Now we can zip it down. Make sure that... Oh, the V's upside down. Son of a... I'm glad I saw it before. Come on. There we go. All right. And you asking questions in here too is helpful for other people that may not be as familiar with PC building. So I definitely want to enable that here. Like, there's no dumb question to ask. I realize, especially now with the market getting better for PC building, some people are just getting into it for the first time, and that's okay. So I think you said something. I am trying to check out the chat while I'm screwing this cooler down. I am building a new PC right now, too, and I know how to install everything on the motherboard, but don't know where any cords go. Okay. Yeah, obviously, I'll try to cover that as quickly as I can because we're about to get into that here. It's specific to the components you're using a bit. It's specific to the case you're using a bit. But for the most part, there is pretty much everything kind of goes the same way. I'll kind of point some things out to you as best I can here. So for at least your CPU cooler, you got a fan. All of them should have it, unless you got an AIO, which is, well, it still has fans, just fans in different locations. But right here, we've got a PWM cable that we're about to plug in after we get this fan attached. Actually, I can plug it in now, it doesn't matter. But this is always going to be up towards the top of the motherboard, and it should say CPU or CPU optional. CPU optional means it's an additional header. But you want to find the one that says CPU, and it's always a 4-pin. This is a 4-pin cable. We're going to plug that into the top of the motherboard, and that provides power to the fan that spins while attached to the cooler that cools everything down. So there's one item for you. We'll get to the rest as soon as we get to the rest. Corey, thanks for joining the Discord, sir. Tell your friends. Trying to grow that as a way of being able to collaborate with you guys on a different level. Obviously, this is a great way to do it and stream, but I don't stream all the time. At least do it once a month. I think this is actually the second one of the month, so that's good numbers for me. I want to do it as much as I can, but you know, it's time permitting. I have a full-time job, family, kids, all that, so sometimes I can't stream for 2+ hours. Alright. So then with the other cables, this is our RGB cables that is going to go... now, we could just straight plug it into the motherboard, because there's headers for that. But what we're actually going to be doing is likely plugging this into... not this motherboard, because I mentioned with this motherboard, this is an older one that doesn't actually have this type of RGB connection. This is a temporary motherboard for now. But we'll be looking for, this is a 4-pin RGB connector up here. I'll kind of get it closer. This is typically where your RGB connectors are located, at the top of the board, and sometimes more towards the bottom of the board down here. And that's pretty synonymous with most all motherboards. So there's another tip for you as far as where things go and where they plug in. And if you are in full question of where things go, I actually have a video I produced about a year ago, a little longer, where I did a full step-by-step. It was a long video, but it's a PC building video for beginners. And basically it encompasses everything with PC building, and explain things in detail. So I have one of those videos out there. I probably should make like a 2023 version of it. I mean, things don't really change, but I've kind of gotten a little better at this YouTube thing here and there since then. All right, got the case. Hey, we've seen this before. So this is going to go fast, guys. We're on a good pace. I think I got all the motherboard components installed and the CPU cooler while chatting with you guys done in like 10 to 12 minutes. Just off camera, putting this side panel in the PC box. So you guys have also seen this before. I'm just pulling out the accessories. Because we're really just going to need the screws. And I'll zip this drive cage sled back in. I'll just put this off to the side. I'm going to switch our view to top down so you can see me install. Now, this is a full ATX case, so what we saw earlier was me having to move the standoffs around, which I will end up having to do eventually for Corey for his final motherboard. This motherboard, I do have a IO shield with it. I'm not even bothering to install it right now because it's going to come out at some point, so I'm just not worried about the aesthetic. Sorry, Corey. You know you're getting your motherboard's on the way. Hopefully tomorrow. So I'll have to. I'm doing this now, but I'm swapping this motherboard out probably tomorrow. That's all right. I just wanted him to be able to see this build come together and everything. Post check, all that stuff works. So, all right, just making sure we got our cables kind of out of the way as we sat that down in there. I think I pinched them. Yep. There we go. Okay. Onward. Let's get this thing zipped down. Got some chat going on. I need a little bit of water here. All right. We got Sean saying, hey, I'm planning on upgrading from a 3080. My current rig is, or upgrade to a 3080. My current rig has a 2060 Super Core i7 B6. Okay. Is it worth it, or should I stay where I'm at? 3080 is quite a jump. That's a pretty good upgrade as long as you got the power for it. 3080s will definitely command a lot more power requirement than a 2060, and as we were talking about earlier too, is they're still coming down in price. I think even your 2060 you could probably get off sale for like 150 plus bucks or $175. But yeah, I'd say it's worth it, man. What i7 are you running? So that you said B560 motherboard. Is that what you said? That was, man, my monitor is doing some funky stuff. Let me get some more screws going. We may not even put all the screws in this because we're gonna have to end up taking it out. I'm not trying to cut shortcuts here on you, Corey. I promise you're gonna get the same experience. This is more or less to show you that the CPU works, that the GPU works, fans work, all that stuff. We'll get that motherboard in hopefully tomorrow. I hope it shows up, but we've got some nasty weather coming into Dallas. I wasn't expecting it to be as bad as it is, but we got what people were calling thunder sleet or thunder. Yeah, it was like literally ice coming out of the sky, and it was thundering like a thunderstorm. It's kind of crazy. Sean says a 10700F. Okay. So you're about 3 generations behind. I think the 10700s are a 10 core, right? I don't think you'll bottleneck it with a 3080. Now, you might be able to pick up, you will pick up frames if you upgrade that CPU along with that 3080, but obviously that is quite a bit of investment. But the 3080 will run plenty good with that 10700. Just know that, say you go to like a 13 gen, this i7 architecture has changed so much since the 10th gen that you will get a substantial improvement on that 3080. So you will probably, depending on your gameplay style, now 1440p might keep it under control because it's it'll put more strain on the GPU, and you won't be sending like 1,000 frames a second to the CPU. So I would say try to play games at high fidelity, so that way you're kind of balancing things out, and you're not gonna run into some kind of CPU bottleneck. Now, if you you try to go play something like Fortnite, and or say like Valorant, something super easy to run, yeah, you're gonna probably bottleneck your CPU and probably get some frame drops or stutters and stuff like that. But all right, Jonathan, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm trying to get this thing done. So, like I said, guys, if Jonathan or I can't help you at this point in the chat or me verbally here, I have a Discord that if you guys are not members of, I post not only PC troubleshooting and tech help, but also I try to catch deals. I'm just trying to build that community in a sense. And what I ultimately want to do is I think I want to create like exclusive channels for like members. So like maybe like $2 a month, $5 a month, something, whatever, where I try to give you guys extra benefit of being a member. So I thought of a good idea is posting monthly build budgets. So like say for example like $1,000 build, what you can get this month, because it changes so often month to month, and that'd be something that you have access to immediately and could go use to, because I'm not covering every budget aspect. So like once a month I'll probably cover one type of budget build, like be it a 500, 600, 700, 800, whatever dollar build, but not going to cover all builds. But it at least allows me to post like a PC part picker link or something anyway that I think could maybe be extra contributing to my members. So keep that in mind. I also thought about, and I've seen other YouTubers do this as well, just like a credits name at the end of my videos. If you guys think that's something cool, let me know, because I want to look for ways to like contribute and bring extra value to my community. Obviously it's more work on me, so that's where it's kind of nice to get a little kickback with a real cheap membership of $1, $2 a month, whatever, because yeah, it is extra work on me. But let me know what you guys think. I might post in my community like ideas, community meaning my PC Tech Hustle YouTube channel community, as well as probably hit up the Discord as well. I'm looking for things that are placed around value, things that like you guys would enjoy, rather than it being, hey, toss me some money because I want some money. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to provide back if I'm doing something like that. All right, we've been through this show before here. We're just getting the cables out that we need. We know that we need PCIe. We know that we need SATA, and we're going to remember to plug them in before we put the power supply in. So we're already one step ahead. Don't need Molex. I do need a SATA. I don't need an extra SATA. Just give me another PCIe. Come on. Sorry for the fluttery noise there. Okay. And we'll put this back in this nice fancy bag, which will go down below for now, because I am ripping and zipping. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to switch our view so you guys can see what the heck I'm actually doing. Get these extra cables that come with the semi-modular power supply installed. So this is PCIe. We're going to put it in the PCIe spot, one of the two. And then we're going to do SATA. And that's all the extra cables we need. So we do have extra cables for my clients that are in the chat. If you guys end up doing other things like extra hard drives, extra anything that requires power, whatever, so don't feel like you're limited here just because I'm plugging in two cables here, that we can fill out this power supply. We just don't have a need for it right now. So you guys will get a bag of goodies with your PCs once we're done here. Alright, gonna put this power supply facing down, so we're drawing in the cool air from underneath the case. Also, I don't think I pointed out, but we've got a nice filter. This is a nice filter. Like, it's not one of those cheapo ones. So then we got a nice dust filter for the power supply. Just pull that out every once in a while, clean that off so your power supply doesn't get collected with dust. Good power supply maintenance. That should be about all you ever have to really do. Alright, what are we at? 28 minutes or so, I think, since we started this build. So, we're going. I should have had you guys start a timer. I didn't think about that. I looked at my clock, I think it was just a hair after 10 before we started. So, 10 Central my time, so we're moving. Get this power supply installed. Make sure we're lined up. Not fully lined up. Somehow we got that screw in, but we're not lined up. There we go. Come on. And go opposite. There we go. That should pull it all together. Beautiful. Well, Jonathan, I think you earned yourself a moderator badge for tonight. Thanks for helping out in the chat. So yeah, you and I can chat on that over Discord or something. Okay, so I'm just trying to catch up on the chat a little bit here. I've been talking my butt off, so I'm thirsty. I can see a 67 RC can consume 225 watts. Yeah, that sounds like you guys are talking about just the card power draw. If you guys are going based on the manufacturer suggestions, they are suggestions. So there's you can run cards at a lower power supply rating than they usually what they give you is something that they suggest you have, like, so you have budget, because they won't know what you have in your build. You could have a really powerful CPU too, so take it as a suggestion. So for this one, we've just gotten, although these cables are black on the power supply, we've got nice sleeved ones here for this build. So we're kind of going for like a neutral black on this build, and the client is going to basically kind of sync everything up the way he wants it through RGB. I'm hoping not. Yeah, we had an issue with trying to get this through, so I'm going to send this through first through the front. There we go. I think I got. There we go. Yeah, I think that's a little better view, so you can kind of see both. Alright, so getting CPU power plugged in on the extension. Again, this will be something we cable manage up because we're building 2 PCs tonight, so can't do all the nitty-gritties tonight. And get our 24 pin plugged in. Now we already know kind of where it needs to go, which is nice, so that's going to make us go faster. Send that through. Just kind of get it right there. And PCIe, we only need one. Get the cable from the power supply connected to each other, and then plug it into the PCIe cable extension. And send that on through from the bottom. I'm kind of curious if I plug in the power switch. What do you guys think? Like, I was plugging in the power switch, not that we've got really anything to worry about here. Plugging in that power switch, it wasn't turning the PC on the other one. I'm going to do the same exact thing here and see if we have any kind of net difference. So weird. Yeah, and looking through here, it looks like, yeah, it's just a power switch that goes on that front panel header. So I don't know what was the deal with that, but I'm going to send that through. We'll find out here in just a minute, I guess. We need, now USB is in a different spot, so I'm going to send this. I typically send the auxiliary, I guess the smaller cables. The big cables, I kind of want them to sit more over the top of the small cables. That way there isn't like a big clutter of cables. That's kind of typically what I do. Just a pro tip for you. That way you kind of don't have to worry about the clutter. The small cables coming over the top. And then the USB 3 on this one is plugged in, I think on the bottom, which will be a kind of an upgrade for us when we get the new motherboard in, because I do not like this spot. Holy crap. Yeah, this is where we would want, well, the motherboard is bigger on this case, or in this build. But it's got that bottom USB 3.0 plug-in. Don't like that spot. Oh, the front panel is in a weird spot too. This is a little bit older of a motherboard. Again, this is just a temporary motherboard. I guess I'll go ahead and plug in the front power. What does it say? Okay, power switch, second and third and fourth pins. Yep. Okay. And then we'll get USB. Although, again, this motherboard's going to come off. We'll go ahead and just plug it in. See, this is where I don't like the spot of this cable. Now, a little tip for if you run into if you have a case that's kind of hard to see. Let me actually swap the view. If you have a build like this where the USB 3.0 ends up coiling like this, I did like a small little short video, but they sell these flexible USB 3.0 cables that allow you to basically tuck that underneath instead of it just being this cable blob that sits out there. So that's a really handy thing if your build or you're doing a build ends up running into that. I think then the last thing I'll do out back here is get this SATA plugged in for the RGB. We got to get that other fan installed too. I just remembered that will stay, so that'll be something that we keep there. So that's worth spending the time doing. Yeah, we got all these cables back here for all the RGB stuff. It's a mess. Fun. That is that's probably the most difficult part about building PCs now these days, is just all the extra cable stuff when it comes to like RGB. So it becomes a pain.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
My watch thinks I'm talking to it. I guess.
I don't know what you mean by.
All right, Siri, you've had enough. Siri thinks I'm trying to talk to her. All right. We are just plugging in cables here, trying to make it so you guys can see it. We're going to do the 24 pin. There we go. I'm going to just send this RGB through the back side for now. Just getting the clutter out of the way. Not really going to focus on plugging in the RGB of the fan. Oh, well, let's see. We'll let that one spin up, I guess. That is also the PWM cable. We'll send that through the rear as well. Beautiful. Power switch in the correct spot. Yes, it is. HD audio. Get this guy plugged in. Wham, bam, and done. Okay. Last thing. GPU. Oh, we'll get this fan. Let's get this fan going real quick. I'm busy building PCs. Yes, I am. As you can see. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat. I see a lot of chatter. Can I get a PC also? Let's see. This is all tangled up. Jeez. I only need one of these fans, not... Okay, there we... Get this out of here. Okay. Oh, cool. So these fans come with extra... Man, you could just keep Oh, nice. That's going to come in helpful. But it comes with extra RGB and PWM connectors, which we will probably need. We'll see. There was a ton back there. All right. And we got those little dampeners. They're here somewhere. I had them sitting out. There they are. We're going to install these on the fan. Get this extra Asia Horse cable extension out of the way. Again, that is the nitty-gritty perfect details that we'll take care of here later after the stream. But this is going in like this against the wall. So we're going to put the dampeners here on the fan real quick. This is where I can catch up with you guys. Tahir says, is it cheap in the US to build a PC? Well, you know, it just depends on the amount of money you really want to spend. I just did a video. If you really want to go on the mega cheap, but also have a decent gaming experience, is Dell Optiplex. I understand too, and I always get this in the comments when I do Dell Optiplex videos, is people in different countries than the US have a hard time getting their hands on Dell Optiplex, which I find kind of funny because them being 10 years old in companies, like my company is global, and we use Dell Optiplexes, and so I'm just kind of, I guess they're not as prevalent on eBay, but maybe some e-recyclers locally in those different countries. That's all usually what I suggest is see if you can look those up, or even just I guess I don't know what they're called in different countries, a pawn type store where they would sell secondhand stuff. That might be a good place to look to get a Dell Optiplex. I understand eBay is kind of lucrative for the United States. There's lots of sellers that sell to consumers in the United States, and it, you know, obviously being a first United States company, eBay and eMarket, so I get it. I know eBay is not as prevalent everywhere else. Like Canada, I know it's pretty strong eBay market. I think like Mexico, like basically North America area. I think where it gets less is more like Europe and Asia Pac and all that. But again, that's where I would say, you know, look to your e-recyclers, because even Dell Optiplexes that are like 10 years old, you know, still have hardware that's good enough if you're just looking to do, you know, basic gaming and you know, just get in on the cheap, or just get used to PC gaming for the first time, because maybe you don't want to spend a bunch of money right up front. I don't blame you, because these are two $900 to $1,000 PCs that we're building right now. They're not cheap. I would say they're mid-tier as far as what you can spend, because you can spend, the sky's the limit when it comes to PC gaming, but you can also keep it cheap. In Argentina, it is complicated or difficult. You could say after 1 year of having my PC, I was able to buy my first graphics card. Yeah, so like I'm curious, Tahir, what is there good? I'd imagine, yeah, in Argentina, probably not. eBay isn't quite as prevalent as it is here in the United States. So are there like secondhand stores that you can go to locally that you might be able to find stuff like that? I'd imagine some businesses are, you know, getting rid of hardware, or they e-recycle. I work in IT for my company, and we do that all the time, where stuff is just old and we e-recycle it. So we sell them to recyclers that will pick up your hardware, and then they'll just sell them on the local markets or eBay or whatever. So I'm just curious, like what that scene looks like in your country. Oh man, these are. I'll get them started with the iFixit kit. That's the only thing about this iFixit screwdriver is you can't get as much torque that you can with this big old sucker. So that's why I like to use this screwdriver. Lots of easy torque to get this, especially when you're first cutting into the plastic on these fans that haven't been installed yet. They come with those screws that have to cut into the plastic. Overall, I'm pretty impressed now that I've done 2 builds in this case, guys. So we kept the case the same, obviously. Everything else is pretty much the same, other than CPU. Obviously, it's AMD versus Intel. the graphics card, which you're about to see, is the same. Not quite the same, but very, very similar. It's a Sapphire card as well. Just a different one. Different one that kind of meets the aesthetic. Alright, so since it is basically the same kind of card, it has the same kind of like dimension, so we know what kind of PCIe brackets to be removing. We're almost there, guys. Alright, GPU time. Alright, so like I said, we got a Sapphire card. This one is a Sapphire Nitro. Basically the same card, just a different aesthetic. I think there's slight small differences in clock speeds and etc. Really nothing to honestly say one card is better than the other. One thing with this one is it has some RGB on it, and it actually has an RGB header, which is kind of nice. So actually, let me get that closer. So if I were to say this card might be semi more premium when it's brand new, but I got these cards both for the same price, and both shipped really quickly, so it looks like it's probably an e-recycler. But again, this is from eBay, and this card is immaculate. There is not even a trace of dust on it. Like, either wasn't really used much, could have been crypto mined on, who knows. I mean, who knows that these days, and they won't tell you. I personally don't think that it's a bad thing, even if something was crypto mined on, because typically a lot of crypto miners take care of the cards even better. And keeping them in good environments. Man, there's not to say that all of them do, but yeah, this is a really good looking card. I think it matches the aesthetic. We're going for neutrals, kind of silvers and blacks, and then the client is going to set the RGB and stuff how you'd like. But yeah, let's get this guy in. Oh, going crooked here. Oh, I forgot the motherboard. This is a larger motherboard, so we gotta set it one slot down. So I kind of ate my words on that. We actually need to keep this guy in at the top. That's fine. I'm really trying to do this a funky way. There we go. Got started. Yee. Okay. Man, we're down to the wire here. 3 hours building 2 PCs. I'd say that's pretty solid. Although, some work is needed on both of them as far as just tidying things up. But as far as just knowing that we get good working systems, right? We're going to beat the 3 hour mark, dang it. I don't know how some people build 1 PC in 3 hours. Come on, I just built 2. Under 3 hours. Yeah. Alright, here we go. Let me get this power plugged in. I like this card. It looks good. Okay, and again, we'll kind of, like I said, don't worry about how the cables look. We've got a lot of work to do, mainly with RGB. Like, we got like an hour plus worth of work with RGB. Yeah, it's ugly as far as that goes. Okay, so just double checking power connections. Motherboard is in. EPS is in. We got this fan installed. I'll get it plugged in for power, I guess, real quick, because we did the other one, so got to do it justice. Just looking for a spare connection that we used, like what we used earlier. There's so many back here. So many. There's like proprietary RGB cables, normal RGB cables, PWM cables, and obviously the cable mess that's left over from things just not getting plugged in yet or managed yet. So lots of cables. This guy come across. I'm gonna have to do this. Unzip that. Pull this up higher. I'm just making a bigger mess for myself, but I at least want to plug in that cable. Yeah, but the thing I gotta look into is there are tons of PWM cables. There's one for each fan, so I got 4. Plus, well, I think what I'm going to have to use is a splitter. That's okay. Now we did get one in the case, unless there's a way to get these things all set up. I believe I have some splitters on me too, but probably be a splitter that we'll have to end up running, like, because there's a lot of extra cables here. So the case fans aren't going to spin because we just don't have power plugged in. We're going to have at least try to get it in a good spot here. I think that's good. Yeah. We'll at least have the color and the power to the RGB. All right. Is 580 still a good option in 2023? I would say yes, it is. And I'm going to do a video on one here pretty soon, because the reason why it is, because you can find them for so cheap. Now, again, Tara, I'm not sure, and excuse me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but those are really, really cheap, I guess, here in the U.S. I'm not sure what they look like in Argentina, but price to performance is fantastic with those cards. You can get them for like $60 here in the U.S., so 60 USD. So that's why I say it's still worth it. Because, yeah, a lot of people still do 1080p gaming. There's nothing wrong with the 580. I think AMD still... I haven't heard word of them cutting support on that model of graphics card yet. I'd imagine maybe another generation they'll start cutting support. They still support the 400 series, which is also not a bad card either, because they're not too much different than the 500 as far as performance goes. All right, we're getting out the portable monitor again. Now I'm really, really, really curious to see if this one's going to turn on, because it should have before, but I don't know what happened. I like this. It's like a big iPad. Very nice quality feeling to it too. I like it a lot. Powers up with just a USB-C to power in the wall, and then it's got a HDMI to mini HDMI for just basic display output. So we'll just plug that into the HDMI of the PC. We've got power. I need power to the PC. And we're about to be done, guys. This is not plugged in. Gotta find the one that is without unplugging the stream. Here we go. All right. Let's get full screen here. Is this gonna turn on with the power switch? We'll find out. 3, 2, 1. Okay. It's got to be something proprietary with the connector up front. I don't get it. What's going on here? I'll figure it out. It's just something I probably don't have plugged in that I'm just zipping past because of time. But let's just jump the board. There we go. All right. Fans are spinning. Got a little RGB on the card, which I like. That's cool. So I guess the default color here is red. Let's see if the color cycle button will work. Yeah, that works. I don't get why the power switch doesn't want to work. So we at least know we got some control here. We're just cycling through things. And I didn't see a post. Did you guys see a post? Or did give it another second. This is an older motherboard, but it does have an updated BIOS. So technically, 5000 series processor should work without a problem. Yeah, this is actually a monitor. I didn't catch it. If we got I don't see anything on screen though. I am powered on, right? Let's just make sure. There's a light on. Let's do this. This is okay. All right, so we know we got the monitor on. I didn't see a post, guys. Let's power off real quick. I don't know if I got that cable all the way in. Let's double check. Cable connections. Boom. That's good. PCIe is connected. That's connected. That's connected. Let's go one more time. Power on. Did I connect the HDMI? I did. Yep. We're plugged in the back. HDMI. Good, good, good. Let's go one more time. All right. So, I know this should post because I plugged in a Ryzen 2600 to it before, at least this motherboard, because I've been messing with this motherboard. I wonder if the motherboard doesn't like the memory, because it is an older motherboard, and what I was messing with was memory that was 3200 megahertz. Yeah, hard drive's installed, although that shouldn't, we should still be able to post without a hard drive. And it's the SSD NVMe. Yeah, we don't have a post. So, let me get some different memory. I'm kind of curious. It might not like this memory. This might just be a hair bit too old of a motherboard that doesn't like 3600. Oh, you know what? I forgot this has a debug code. Let's check that out. That is the nice thing about this motherboard. It has a debug code. Let's try it one more time and see what it says. Come on. Oh, did I flip it off? No, we're good. There we go. All right, probably impossible for you guys to see, but let's see if I can not get my hand in a fan. Yeah, it's right behind the dang cable. I don't think you guys are gonna be able to see it, but we have, no way. We have a CPU light on. Gosh darn it. This is a modern BIOS too. Like I just updated it actually. Maybe it's supposed to support 5000 series. That's wild. CPU light. Now it does have CPU light on, but does it mean the memory is acting funky? I'm just a little curious. Let's troubleshoot just a little bit before I waste you guys' time. I'm gonna shut this down. We will just kind of make sure we got power evacuated. Just jump the pins one more time with it powered off. Okay. I had this sucker, although it was an older CPU, but it's on a BIOS that's like 2 months old. But this is an older motherboard. This isn't the old, and this isn't the motherboard we're going to end up on either. So I don't have any fear of having issues with the motherboard that my client is going to be on. I did not have a chance to test this CPU with this motherboard though, because we just got the parts in. Let me make sure I got that installed correctly. Alright, get this, get on there. I gotta go in the wrong way. I can't see. Yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna put in one Corsair Vengeance memory stick that I have sitting around. This is a older memory. It's a 3200K Broadcast latency 16. So presumably less crazier memory, I guess you could say. Now, if it doesn't post here, I'll have to go back to the drawing board on it being maybe it doesn't like a 5700X. I don't know. And it is, again, it is an older motherboard, so it's very possible that does that mean I need this new CPU? Nah, man, you're good. Don't worry about it. But this motherboard doesn't like this. This isn't your motherboard we're going to end up on, though. Yeah, it's saying CPU error light. So what this means, guys, is this is a B450 Tomahawk from probably 4 or 5 years ago or more. It's on the latest BIOS, so I would imagine it should support this new CPU. The only thing is, maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's just some kind of finicky thing with this particular motherboard. We've got a newer motherboard on the way that has a 5000 series support already built in, so I don't fear that to be an issue. Is it possible that a brand new CPU is bad? Kind of funny. Now we're going on. Someone was in the chat earlier trashing our AMD stuff, and he's probably laughing right now. But this could be a number of things. I don't think I'm going to be able to resolve it here on stream. What I'm going to have to do is probably drop it into a different motherboard, or just wait till that one that we're supposed to have comes in. Thanks a lot. You know, bad weather and shipping that is delaying things here, but fear not that this is going. What I'm going to do is I think I'll post like maybe a little quick follow-up short video or something for you guys that shows what happened with this one, because I have a feeling it's just a motherboard compatibility issue, even though the BIOS is on the latest BIOS, which I'm sure of because I just updated it probably I don't know 2-3 days ago, and I was doing testing just to run a video card for testing. So I'm not concerned about it. Worst case here, we probably just have to, well, we're gonna have to wait till that motherboard that's supposed to be here comes in. It was supposed to be here like 3 days ago. Now this may just simply not support 5000 series. I may have overlooked that with the BIOS. Maybe the Tomahawk, the original, I think this is Rev 1. Let me see if I think it says it on here. Yeah, version 1.0. So it is possible that there are newer versions of the Tomahawk. I know this one's older because it has a, I'm getting a weird camera light here. There are newer versions of that particular brand of motherboard, and if what Todd is saying right now is correct, then yeah, there is no support for 5000 series, so we just put an incompatible CPU into the system. Again, we're not sticking with this motherboard, so we're going to be plenty fine. I know the motherboard that we're coming in, I've actually personally tested with 5000 series CPUs. So Corey, don't worry about a thing, man. We're gonna be good, and by like we already talked about, by the time you get your hands on it, it's gonna be the build as it should be. But here's what it looks like. So don't worry about it. Again, this motherboard, as we talked about on stream, is coming out. This is more of a place filler motherboard because inclement weather that's happening, I think, really across the country at this point, but definitely in the DFW area, has caused me to just have a place filler motherboard for now. But this is a pretty solid looking PC. I like it. We're gonna have all the RGB things going once we're done with it. I think it's gonna look pretty sweet, and it's gonna be a heck of a gamer. 5000 series CPU with a 600 XT. It's gonna be a banger of a PC. Yes, I hope it gets here by tomorrow too, so I can finish this for you. But anywho, guys, that is 2 PCs built right at about 3 hours. Obviously, you know, they're not complete in a sense of the fine details. Obviously, we got some weird issue with this one. Well, it's not weird. It's probably just the motherboard just simply doesn't support the CPU. I am going to check on that because I am curious if that is like they just stopped supporting, maybe because there are newer versions of this motherboard, they stopped pushing BIOS updates to these older versions. I don't know. The BIOS date I have on this is like a few months old, but who knows? I'd have to check up on that. If that's what Taher's saying is to be correct, then it should be correct. Okay, so I mean, I think at this point, guys, I'm gonna call it. Thanks for sticking with me. The two clients that these are built for, these are gonna be a heck of a gaming machine for both of them. I'm really excited to see how they perform. I think they're pretty comparable, balanced builds. And this is something that you guys can take $900 to $1,000 US and replicate. We did some upgrades, obviously. We went with a CPU that probably was an upgrade that, for at least for this one within this motherboard, is now causing us some issues, oddly, which is funny. But it's not going to be of any problem that we're going to run into at the final state of this build. Thanks, Jonathan, for helping out in the chat. I know we had several people asking questions and stuff, so I appreciate the help there. Guys, get tuned in. Look out for quick little subtle updates about these builds, because I'm not going to do any more content on these builds. I got to deliver them. I'd love to do a performance measurement between the two, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to post probably some quick little videos of just the final product, the final running product, and maybe what happened with this motherboard if it truly just doesn't support 5000 series, which it seems to be the case. So thanks for tuning into the stream, guys. I appreciate your time, and I will catch you guys in the next content coming soon. Take it easy, guys.